Wow, so just about every single prominent Democrat politician is screaming, whining, and bitching and kvetching because of yesterday's Supreme Court ruling, which I am now going to call the new Emancipation Proclamation. I'm going to prove it to some people because the Democrats want to supposedly fight racism with actual racism. They want to keep black people back under their thumb on the plantation. They are terrified of black people actually prospering and doing good for themselves and their families. Ever since 1965, the Democrats have done everything they possibly can to convince, to get inside the heads of black people that the evil white man is going to do something. So much so that if you do something on your own, if you actually enjoy prosperity, if you enjoy making money, they say things like you're a coon, that you forget where you came from. I've always said, whenever anybody says that to me, I've never forgot where I came from, and I don't forget because I never want to go back. So it's so stupid when I hear that, oh, you forget where you came from. You forget your elders and who came before you. No, I don't. I completely remember that because I'm never going back there. I'm doing everything I possibly can for myself, my family, to make sure that they never have to endure what people endured back in the 60s. You know, but then again, it wasn't so bad as it is now. There were actually dads in the home. There were actually people praying. Interesting. They destroyed all that. They promoted abortion. The ability of people to read and write has been destroyed despite spending trillions in the inner city. And I think I'm going to do a video project. Yes, this weekend I'm going to do a video project. They went and hung the street sign, Martin Luther King Boulevard, all across the country in the shittiest neighborhoods in each city that is there. Tell me something. If the Civil Rights Movement, if the Voting Rights Act, if all that was so great for black people, why are they still mired so much in poverty? And why do they need you to hand out things? Why haven't you taught them? Why haven't you educated them? Why haven't you trained people in the black community to be self-sufficient and to take personal accountability? I know I'm going to get flamed in the comments. It always happens. I'm an Uncle Tom. I'm a coon, whatever you want to say. But I don't need government handouts. My dad didn't need government handouts. My family doesn't need government handouts. So somehow, somehow we were able to, quote, overcome. See, the Democrats sing the song, but they don't want people to actually overcome. If people overcome, then you don't need Democrats. You disgust me. You've disgusted me for years. And I should thank you because my disgust of Democrats has allowed me to enjoy prosperity and has allowed me to spread prosperity throughout my family. So I guess I can say thank you, Democrats. It worked because you disgusted me and turned my stomach. And if there's one single black person that watches this and says, you know what? I want to change my life. I want to stop depending upon racist policies, then it's worth it. So I can't wait till this weekend. Saturday, I'm going to take a ride down Martin Luther King Boulevard. I may stop at a few stores and talk to some of the guys standing on the stoop. And I may just ask them, hey, can you tell me why you're still sitting here on a stoop on a beautiful Saturday morning in South Florida? Are you waiting for somebody to come by and, give you some food or tips or something? Why are you standing on the corner? What don't you know how to do? Why weren't you trained in 60 years? See, the Democrats don't like black people talking like this. They freak out. Actually, some of the white politicians. The more people who get off the plantation, the worse it is for the Democrats. So Democrats, you disgust me. F you, Obama. You're all frauds. So some of you may be wondering, man, what was Barry so hot about? Well, because I posted that on X as well. This morning I had to get up early and go to the DMV and take care of re-registrations and all this kind of stuff. And it just dawned on me that all the hatred, all of the drama, the complete freaking out, as I went through and I was looking on X, almost every single Democrat was complaining. And I thought to myself, let me call my sisters, Democrats, black. You okay? Yeah, what? Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. This was good for America, and it's really, really bad for the Democrats. They're having a really bad day. And I'm just so over it. And yes, on Saturday, I am going to go down. I think I'll just drive down Martin Luther King Boulevard. I'll go from probably Fort Lauderdale to Delray to Boynton. I'll just traverse it. And I'll point the camera so that you can see what I see as I'm driving up Martin Luther King Boulevard. Boy, Martin Luther King must be pissed off. He's like, with all the roads in your town, you're telling me you had to stick my name on the road in the worst part of the ghettos all the way up the country. Man, what a great way to support and celebrate Martin Luther King by putting his name in areas nobody wants to live in. Not even the black people. And it's blighted and it's ghetto. I went over the broken window theory with you last night. Nothing ever changes. Nothing. And I have bought houses in the hood. I have fixed them up. I've rented out the section. It doesn't matter. In fact, I'll drive you by some houses I owned like way back in 2001, 02, 24 years ago. Like, I used to own that house right there, and the neighborhood doesn't look anything different. And nobody stops to ask why. Nobody. Nobody asked the questions of Hakeem and all these other people and Al Sharpton. Why are there still ghettos? I can drive by the road up here and I can see them building new homes, $1 million, $2 million homes all over the place. I can drive by the beach and see them pouring new concrete docks for people who are going to park their yachts there. But why, when I drive through the hood, it's still the hood? You know, wherever you live, you drive by, make sure the doors are locked, everything okay, we're about to drive through the hood. You know what I'm talking about. Why is it like that? Why do black people in those areas accept that? The voting right decision is good for all Americans. It's easy to understand why if you just ask one question. Am I being represented in Congress or the Senate, or am I a managed asset? You see, if you're a managed asset, then it doesn't matter who you're voting for. You're just an asset that they use to put in their column. If you're being represented, your politicians don't have to pander to you. They're going to do the best for you wherever you live. Doesn't matter where you live. They would try to win your vote, and it wouldn't be the black vote. It wouldn't be the Hispanic vote, which, by the way, I still woke up this morning going, man, there got to be a lot of Hispanics, a lot of Asians, and people like, what the hell is this all about? How did we get skipped over? Because they don't care. They were able to bamboozle people in the hood. They couldn't do that. Despite, many of the people coming across the border, one of the common things a lot of them have is that they maintain a Christian household. They destroyed that in the black community. They went after that hard. As soon as we can destroy the family, we're good. They're stuck. If you are a managed asset, your vote is already counted. It's taken for granted. They will always believe you. They always will count on you vote for Democrats. It's baked in. They don't have to spend any effort trying to get the black vote. President Trump and other Republicans hope that they can just get a sliver. If we can chop off just a sliver here, we're going to be okay. Because we know 90+ % are just going to just walk the line. It's almost like going to a restaurant. And you walk into this restaurant and you order food. And when you get the food, there's maggots in it. And then you go throw it away. And, all right. And you go back, you get some money, and you go back next week. More maggots. And you go back, more maggots. You keep getting the same thing. You're unsatisfied. You're unfed. There's nothing about what they do that's helping you, that's nourishing you. And I don't just mean food-wise, I mean mentally, I mean financially. You're just an asset that needs to be maintained and controlled so that their agenda can move forward. You mean nothing. Now, what happened was the Supreme Court just declared that politicians can't draw boxes based on how easy the people in those boxes are to manage. You actually have to get out there and do something to win. You imagine how many politicians on the left never had to try, never had to push? Now they'll have to. And they can now, again, fear losing your vote. They'll have to actually represent you, represent the people. But it's going to be very hard for them to represent anybody because they truly don't know what the people in the hood want. And the reason why they don't understand what people in the hood want is because they've never cared to ask. I can give you a big hint. Any Democrat want to tune in here, if you wonder what people in the hood want, if you cared to ask what do people in the hood really want, they want the exact same thing everybody else does. There's no mystery here. There's no grand illusion into, wow, I wonder what the people in the hood want. They want safety. They want adequate housing. They want opportunity. You beat it out of them. You keep telling them you can't. The white man took it from you. You have systematically, since you like to use the word systemic, you have systemically beat the hell out of the black community to make them feel, make them think it's somebody else's fault. They may have wanted more for their children, more for their family, more for their business. You kept telling them no. Now, this great ruling for the Republic is going to require you to get off your duff, go into these communities, and tell them, you know what, you see that house over there? We're going to make it so you can live in here, but we're not going to give it to you. We're done with the giving and hands out. We're going to show you how to become a productive member of society. What you're doing right now no longer works. Now, we're not going to cut you off completely because I know this is a culture shock. I know it's a shock to some people in the hood that, oh my gosh, I might have to pay for my own stuff. I might have to get up in the morning and wash my behind and go to work to earn some money. I know it's a shock. It's a 60-year shock. Everybody else watching this video is like, what do you mean? I've been getting up and going to work forever. I learned it when I was 13 and 14. Then I got my first job. Either I went to high school and got a job, or I went to college and got a job. And I've been paying taxes ever since. It's so elementary to you. Maybe that's why it's the white man's fault, because we did things. Privilege was basically paying the government instead of taking from the government. That's the privilege we had. That's white privilege. That's black privilege. That's Hispanic privilege. We have the privilege and the obligation to pay for our stuff. And now you've got an entire generation or multiple generations of people who don't know that basic truth. Imagine right now, you're 30, 40, or 50 years old. You've never had a job. You've never paid for groceries. You've never paid rent. You've never paid a doctor's bill. You've never paid for a cell phone. You think something's broken? Because every single one of those things we take completely, not as a privilege, we take it for granted. What do you mean, Barry? Think about it. There's an entire swath of people who have never poked their head out of a hole and understood what the rest of us have understood since we were kids. My grandson at 16 and 17, he's working. He's getting a check. My granddaughter just turned 13. We opened her up a bank account, showing her how to use money. These people have never done these things. And if they did try, if it didn't work out, they gave up. They completely gave up. But they'll go out and buy a $300 pair of sneakers. Oh, yeah, that'll happen. They'll go out and get, nails out to here. They'll do all the things that keep them in the situation that they're in. How many of you would love to go out to restaurants every weekend, but you go, can't, I got a budget. These are things that are so elementary that if you want to call me an Uncle Tom for understanding them, I'll wear that proudly. Because to me, being a productive member of society didn't come because of my skin color. You are almost criminal, talking to the Democrats, who have kept people basically like little birds in a nest, keep feeding them gruel and making them come back for more every 15th and 30th of the month. Now watch what happens. Now watch what happens when they're not going to get the SNAP benefits, when they're not going to get all this free stuff where it's chop, 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 and they're going to scream to you, and you've got nothing to tell them other than, it's Trump. It's Trump's fault. That's not going to work too much. These people are going to need your assistance. And I don't mean this way. I'm talking about you're going to have to teach them. You're going to have to train them things that we have trained and learned about for decades, to the point where people, and I know I've done it myself sometimes, just drive through these areas and go, how can you possibly live like this? Do you not know where the trash receptacles are? Just common sense. You and I, we go in the store, we pop up a soda or something, and we drink it. It just doesn't go on the ground. You eat some chips or something, you don't crack, just go. We're talking some remedial training is needed. Stevie Wonder, is a great musician, had a lyric in one of his songs, In the City, I think it was called. He goes, they were poor, but her clothes were always clean. Meaning, I live in the hood. I'm not going to be here forever, but my clothes are clean. They're never dirty. And I know right now there's some of you my age that are sitting there going, Barry, is it really that bad in the hood? Yeah. Maybe some of you avoid it right now, but just drive by this weekend somewhere and you're going to well, why is all this crap all over the road? What are these people just doing standing here? It's got to change. And hopefully this makes it change. I don't know. I think it got to get to the point where you've hit rock bottom, but these people, they didn't hit rock bottom. That's where they built their abode. To them, rock bottom was comfort. To them, rock bottom was basically the pinnacle. You're not going to go any higher, so we might as well get used to it. This is how we live. This is us. This is our culture. I know it because I've lived it. And I know it because people complained to me when I said, you can't live like this, man. You got to do something. At the very minimum, go wash your ass. And I'm not even talking about the people on drugs. I'm not even talking about any of that. SV and I, he'll send me videos of just some craziness going on. And it's an old meme. Is it them, Yogi? Yeah, it's them, boo-boo. When do you want to stop being called them? When did people accept that that was part of their life, that their culture, that that's just how we are? That's how bad it is with the Democrats. They have done everything they possibly can do to make them think that's okay. And now, without this with the voting thing happening and the Supreme Court saying, nope, you can't draw little boxes around the black neighborhoods, which should never have been drawn before, you're going to see some people get really, really pissed off, which is why the Democrats are posting the way they are. They're trying to they're trying to drum up people to get angry. And I think what is going to happen, it's going to backfire. I think instead of getting angry, I think there's going to be a lot of people that look around and go, well, maybe I can have something better. And that's where the opportunity for you comes in. I'm not telling you go into the hood, get out of your car. I'm saying at this point, we need to be promoting the message. Get more people to understand you can be a productive member of society. You need a bridge, we'll help you until you get back on your feet. But the lifestyle of getting everything free, you see, some of these people need to go cold turkey. Clip, clip, clip. Because that cold, hard turkey is going to make you realize I need to do something. Even if it's washing dishes in the restaurant or sweeping in the floors in a building. You got to start somewhere. The Democrats are going to fight because they understand that if that happens, they're just going to go absolutely crazy. We got to be better, as Melania Trump would say. But at this point, it's going to get rougher because they don't have any alternative. They don't know. And that's on both sides. The Democrats have always counted on this voting bloc, and this voting bloc has always depended upon you. And now all of a sudden, there's got to be a real reckoning that has to happen. And let's usher it in. You know, I think you saw today, I forget what's the polls say here. We were talking about President Trump and what he did at the Oval Office, and 72% of you have not even seen what he's done today, which is great. So I'm going to segue to that because it's a long one. I don't know if it's just like I feel sometimes Thursday is like the start of the weekend for me. And I think President Trump felt the same way today. And he walked in and just threw it down. And if you haven't seen it, the executive, he signed an executive order. And I personally want to see how Democrats take their stance on this. I'll tell you more about it in a second. Let me bring in SV. What you got? Anything pressing? I know he put up a whole bunch of posts, but
yeah, I'm gonna leave that to you because I'm sure you'll cover it. My topic right now is I'm gonna follow up on that DOJ website from yesterday. Remember in your show?
Yeah.
So the big story that they were talking about dropping today. Their first post was the fraud division launches West Coast strike force to target healthcare fraud schemes across Arizona, Nevada, and Northern California. Driven by data showing a significant and accelerating increase in healthcare fraud across all three districts, the strike force builds on a foundation of recent landmark prosecutions, including the successful prosecution of digital health technology executives in the Northern District of California, and the dismantling of Medicare sober home and wound care fraud schemes in the District of Arizona. This was said by General Colin McDonald. And there's a couple others on here, but I know you got a lot of stuff going on. But that was the main news they dropped today at the X website.
And there's something else in regards to that I didn't see on their website, but I think it'll show up there. I don't know what's going on in Minnesota. Tim Walz has got to be pooping in his pants. Dr. Oz came out today and said they just stopped another $90 million of fraud in Minnesota. It seems as though Minnesota has been the fraud capital of the world at this point. And the more they dig, the more they find, the more they're exposing. And it's getting bad.
I got a breaking news on that. So it literally dropped from Nick about 20 minutes ago. So get this. You'll believe it because it makes sense because it's craziness. Minnesota Democrats just voted to block an amendment that would have banned funding from going to the Quality Learing Center in Minneapolis, the same one they just raided.
Wait. They blocked funding to go to a defunct
They blocked an amendment that would have banned it. So they want it to continue. So basically, Nick's like, time to cut off all federal funding to Minnesota. That's the only way to do it. You got to cut off the head of the snake here. This is crazy.
Man. You got to wonder who's got their hand out here that they're still not cutting it. That's absolutely crazy. Absurd.
Well, there you go. I know you got a busy show, so I'm gonna segue back to you, and you can move along, and I'll keep checking stuff. If I see anything important, I'll text you.
All right. Thank you very much. All right, everybody. You've seen the headlines. Major banks are predicting gold could climb over $6,000 an ounce, with silver skyrocketing up to $300 an ounce. And if you watch the markets today, what happened? I don't know. Something happened. Even though oil is a little bit high, the market still shot up. You see, the news is finally catching up to what I've known for years, and many people have known, that the value of the dollar is under assault. And there's no way to fix this because they're going to keep trying to steal. What's going to happen is the demand for gold and silver with all the AI stuff is going to continue to explode. All they can do is try to contain it. But who you trust matters just as much as what you buy. That's why I trust Lear Capital. They are an education-based first company that prioritizes customer experience over a quick sale. And because of that, Lear has thousands of satisfied customers, over $3 billion in transactions, and they offer something truly unique, a 24-hour risk-free purchase guarantee. So don't pay anything unless you're completely satisfied. And who does that today? Who offers that? And for those interested in moving some of your retirement dollars into actual gold and silver, please understand Lear was recently named the best overall golden IRA company by Consumer Affairs. Interesting, because we're going to be talking about IRAs real soon here. If you're considering gold and silver, call the best in the business. Give them 10 minutes. That's it. No pressure. See if gold or silver is right for you. Call my friends at Lear Capital. Give them 10 minutes and they'll help you get started today. 800-601-5430, 800-601-5430, or go to learberry.com and download any of the free information booklets that they have on their site. And in doing so, you may qualify for up to $20,000 in bonus gold or silver. So again, give them a call, 800-601-5430, or go to learberry.com. And as I said, as I'm teasing, something big happened today that ties into all of this. So we'll get to that in a second here.
One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. We very much appreciate it. This is a big afternoon. They all are, in a way, because all of these things that we do are very important. This afternoon, I'm thrilled to sign a historic executive order expanding access to high-quality retirement savings accounts for millions of Americans. In my State of the Union earlier this year, I promised to make the same types of retirement accounts enjoyed by the federal employees available to all Americans. So that's what we're doing. It only seemed fair. It's really a tremendous situation for all Americans. That was really much promises made, as I say, promises kept. I'm thrilled to be joined by incredible people that I know and the warriors. Jason Smith, these are Congress people. Brian Stile, Mike Carey, Lloyd Smucker, Bill Heisinger, Ryan McKenzie, John McGuire, Zach Nunn, Derek Van Orden, Jeff Crank, Nick Begich, Monica De La Cruz, and Mike Lawler. Warriors, every one of them. They're great people. They fought very hard for what we're about to sign. And since my election, the stock market has set 59, this is in a little bit more than a year, 59 all-time record highs, adding $9 trillion in value to really the value of our country, if you think about it. Under 4 years of Biden, the average 401K rose at a rate of just $875 a year. Last year, under Trump, the average 401K balance was up $24,000. So $875 versus $24,000, I would say that's pretty good. This is really incredible. The numbers are incredible. The numbers being invested in our country are more incredible than anything. You see it. There are plants being built all over the USA. We have auto plants, not just AI. AI is doing great. We're leading China by quite a bit. But we have auto plants being built all over the country. They're coming back from Canada. They're coming back from Mexico, Germany, Japan, South Korea. Wherever they build autos, they're coming here. Nobody ever thought they'd see that. The union loves me. I did very well with the auto workers, but they like me a lot more now than they did when I was just talking about it. Beginning at the start of next year, every American will be able to go to TrumpIRA.gov and open a new low-cost IRA account. You'll then be able to access the same type of retirement accounts that federal employees enjoy through the thrift savings plans, which are incredible. As part of the Federal Savers Match Program, low-income Americans will be eligible to receive up to $1,000 per year in matching funds deposited directly into their accounts. It's a great thing. For millions of Americans who lack employer-sponsored plans, this will be really revolutionary because they'll be covered. Nobody thought that was possible. For example, if a 25-year-old who is eligible for a Savers Match Program invest just $165 a month under the matching federal contributions, they will have an estimated $465,000 in their account by the time they're 65 years old. In other words, they'll be rich. And there's something awfully nice about that. But
there's something awfully nice about that. And I know I can already hear people right now. Well, I don't have an extra $165 a month. I was driving, as I said, I was going to the motor vehicle department today, and Maria Bartiromo was on the radio. And I loved how she unabashedly talked. She said her family, her dad and mom sat her down when she was a young girl, and they said, here's what you need to do to get rich. I'm like, rich? And they said, you're going to have to learn what compound interest actually does, which a lot of people, especially in those communities, as he mentioned, low income, you don't know what that even means. And so she said on air, she goes, that's how I made my first $1 million. And I was like, and then she goes, yeah, I said it. And I absolutely loved that she came out and said it. So understand, here on April 30th, 2026, he's launched another winner, something that's going to drive them crazy, the TrumpIRA.gov website, and it's exactly as good as it sounds. There's no small print here. This is how you help every single hardworking American without growing government, without raising taxes, and without forcing anybody to do anything. This is conservatism at its best. It's how it's done right. And let me break it down for you in case you didn't really understand what he said, because that's the problem. A lot of this is going to fly over people's heads. Right now, today, 42% of full-time workers, 42%. That's over 40 million American people have no retirement plan at their job. Gig workers, small business, service industry employees, all of these people, there is no long-term retirement plan at their jobs. Most of them are working for themselves. They are completely left out. They want to save, I think, but they don't know where to go, where to start. What do you do? They don't have time to shop around so they can find, the best IRA or 401K. And then who pays for that? How long is it going to take? Well, because they can't get retirement advice in this regard, who ends up paying is you and me, because all they have to look forward to is like a $1,600 a month payment when they turn 65, 40 years from now. Everybody has known Social Security is not going to work. It is not going to continue to give what people need to actually retire, enjoy life. And so now, especially with medical bills and other stuff, here comes President Trump. He signs an executive order creating the TrumpIRA.gov website, a simple, easy to use, one-stop website where any American without an employer plan can go compare and sign up for a real private sector IRA. Low fees, no minimums on most of the plans. It's been vetted by Scott Bessent and the Treasury Department to keep the scammers out. This is not some Obama-style government bond trap. This is the free market. And here comes the best part. Starting in 2027, the savers, those of you who want to contribute, they're going to match it. 50% government matching on your first $2,000. That's up to $1,000 of free money deposited right into your IRA account. Even if you pay no income taxes. Even if you pay no income taxes right now, they'll match your IRA 401K account that you decide to start. This is actual real help for a working American and the same people who just yesterday found out you don't have to vote for the people you've been voting for. Just let that sink in. Following up from yesterday, now you have an option saying, listen, you're 22 years old. You need to start setting yourself up for the future. The American worker is going to prosper. The waitress, the truck driver, the small business owner, the retired couple, and retired couples looking to supplement their savings. This helps everyone. More money flowing into American businesses and more capital for jobs and growth. Higher returns on your own managed 401k, stronger stock market. The market, as I'm looking at it right now, shot up 800 points. How could that possibly be? There's a war. Oil prices are going crazy. Yet, right now, it's up 7. Actually, it's closed for the day, so it closed at 790 plus. It's amazing. A more secure future for our kids and grandkids. This is America First economics.
This is only the first step. I was talking to Kevin Hassett a little while ago, and the people standing right behind me, we're going to take it to the next level. And the next level, Kevin, you're going to mention something, but the next level will be necessary to have congressional approval. What you just heard, we don't need congressional approval. And it'll never be terminated, because to terminate it, if somebody else is in office, to terminate it, you'd have to take that money away. You'd have to really take away something that's so positive. I don't think any politician would do it. But to take it to the next level, we need congressional approval, which should be very easy to get. It should be bipartisan. Normally it would be bipartisan, but today nothing's bipartisan, right? I mean, it should be something that everybody supports. So, Kevin, before we start, maybe you could just explain what we were talking about for the next level.
Right. So for the next level, sir, what we're already talking, Chairman Smith and I about, and I've been talking with Mr. Smucker about this for a number of years, is that we're going to expand this program that you're creating here, which is for low-income people, to middle-income people and maybe above as well, so that every American, most high-income people have an employer that gives them a 401K with a match. But low-income people or Uber drivers or something, they don't have access to that. They don't have access to the match. What you've done here is you've given the match to low-income people with incomes below $35,000. But we think that there are a lot of people, even who make more than that don't have many assets for retirement. And so we're working with Congress to significantly expand this program, and we're looking forward for legislation this year to expand this.
And also the Trump accounts, you remember, with Michael Dell and Susan and the group that we had are setting records.
We have
the numbers.
5 million sign-ups right now, sir. 5
million sign-ups in a short period of time, far above what we thought even possible. So congratulations to everybody that got that started. Michael Dell put in $6.25 billion. That's a lot. He put in a lot of money, and he's going to do more too. But
I can't believe, although it sounds great, I can't believe there's only 5 million people who took advantage of the Trump accounts for kids. That is absolutely mind-blowing. Why isn't that upwards of 15 and 20 million people? It's amazing. But at least it's a start, and it's going to be a great start for a number of 5 million families. And now here comes the other side. The other side is, all right, so you got the Trump accounts for the babies. Now here comes, people a little bit older. They're going to be able to save money as well. And like he just said, this should be a no-brainer. You have to think to yourself, why in the world would any Democrat anywhere oppose this? That's a good question, because probably it's called the Trump IRA, which I know he must do to just troll these people. They can't stand anything with Trump's name on it. They will call it a political stunt. They would rather have big government run the entire thing. He mentioned that, if you try to take this away from people, it's going to be a political nightmare. I don't think they care. I think they will try to rip whatever they possibly can from people. You're seeing it with Mondami right now. They hate it when the private sector is helping people. Not government, the private sector. They hate when working people get to choose. They don't want you to be able to choose. They hate giving President Trump a win, even if it helps their own voters. These people are sick. That's how sick the modern left is. Biggest thing is they would rather see Americans struggle than promote prosperity, even if it has Trump's name on it. Can you imagine not wanting your voters, the people that have put their trust in you, you don't want them to understand prosperity?
They were very responsible. So I just want to let you know, it's like record. You are even surprised by that number, I think, right? I don't know if we can do that kind, but it's really way beyond what anyone thought. It's great. And we're going to be doing the same thing, I guess, in a certain way for older people. We're going with a plan that if it works, has to get approved by Congress. But that's right. We think it'll get approved. It'll be fantastic for the country. Let's go. Will, do you want to start? Sure. There's some other things, and we thought we'd let these great people from Congress and beyond, or below, I guess I could say. So first, sir.
All right, so right now he's going to have him sign the executive orders. One of them is for the Trump IRA accounts, but listen to what the other ones are too.
This is the IRA executive order that you just mentioned. This establishes the retirement accounts with the federal match for eligible people, as you said in your speech and as Kevin explained. This is a big step forward. It's going to provide access to high-quality retirement accounts to a lot of Americans who don't currently have access to such accounts.
Okay. There it is. That's nice. Great. Thank you very much, everybody. we'll do some that aren't associated with this, and then we'll talk about this with the press. You'll ask some questions of the Congress people, okay? Because they were really responsible for this. All right?
Yes.
Who would like to hold that? Popular guy. Okay, let's go.
This is a presidential permit authorizing the Bridger pipeline, sir. This is a transborder pipeline similar to the old Keystone XL pipeline. It'll significantly expand our ability to move oil around North America, oil and gas around North America. It's a huge deal in terms of long-term energy dominance and energy security.
Slightly different than the last administration.
Very different than the last
They wouldn't sign a pipeline deal, and we have pipelines going up. And by the way, they're way underground. They're not a problem. Nobody even knows they're there. It's so crazy, but they wouldn't approve anything having to do with the pipeline, and they're great. As opposed to trucking it or training it, they're great.
Okay, now think about what he just said. They're opening up some pipeline that's obviously already been constructed, and it's underground. It caught me by surprise. I've got some homework tonight, so if you guys want to look this up, where the hell is this pipeline? When was it put in place? And how long has it been dormant? I didn't know this was coming. SV, do you know anything about that? What the hell is this pipeline?
I did not hear anything about that.
Well, now we find
Vaporware.
out. Huh?
Vaporware. I'll have to check into that.
Yeah. I mean, there is a pipeline that he just authorized. They're going to get it. They're going to be shipping more oil through this pipeline, which is going to should probably lower our cost here. But now we have a pipeline that seemingly has been dormant. I don't know. I'm going to have to look it up for sure.
A lot of jobs, too. A lot of jobs. Okay, very good. Next.
This is an executive order on federal contracting, sir. Many federal contracts currently operate on a cost-plus basis. This provides oftentimes weird incentives for contractors, leads to cost overruns, costs the federal government a lot of money. What this executive order does is it establishes a fixed price contract as the default in most federal contracts. This aligns the federal government with what would typically exist in the private sector, and we believe will continue to drive down fraud and abuse in federal contracting government-wide.
Would anybody like to object to this?
No, absolutely not.
You're fighting for this one, too. Okay, thank you. Next.
You previously announced.
All right, so before he gets to that, one of the things I have said to you guys many a times is to do your homework and understand what exactly is going on, because sometimes the breadcrumbs that you'll find are very, very informative. So I want to show you something, because this kind of happened with not much, quote, fanfare. And we're just finding it out today, and you heard what he said. So let me show it to you. I won't spend the time to read the entire thing to you because there's so much here. But I want to show you this. Let me move that comment so you guys can see it as well. And then I'm going to spend some time reading this weekend, and I would advise you to as well. SV, I see you waving. What you got?
Yes, I asked Grok, and Grok is good with quick answers. So I asked if Trump spoke about a hidden pipeline today, and he goes, yes, President Trump spoke about pipelines being hidden way underground where no one even knows they're there. He apparently authorized a presidential permit for the Bridger pipeline project, a cross-border crude oil line from Canada to Wyoming. This partially revives elements of the canceled Keystone XL pipeline, allowing transport over 1 million barrels per day of Canadian crude.
Wow.
Winning.
Wow. Wow. Didn't see that one. And I've got some more breadcrumbs I want to show everybody.
Okay.
So check this out. So this is what SB was talking about. He says he authorized something called the Bridger pipeline expansion to construct, connect, operate, and maintain pipeline facilities at the international boundary at Phillips County, Montana, between the United States and Canada. And it's a long post. But here's what I want to show you. This came out today, April 30th. I want to show you what's below this that probably none of us, I know I hadn't seen. It says related. And there's June 30, 2025, April 15th, 2026, June 30, 2025, April 15th, 2026. These are all permit applications and information on various different pipelines. They've been planning this, the Bakken pipeline, the Steel Reef U.S. pipeline, and more with the Bakken, the Enbridge Energy pipeline. And I'm thinking, and this was on April 15th, the man has had a plan. And I've said it before, if you guys aren't watching whitehouse.gov, the media never talks about this. How else can you explain what's happening if you don't see all this? And I'm like, now I feel remiss in my job, because this has been, you can look at the breadcrumbs. You can look how they've been setting things up. What's on page 2? More on April 15th, the South Bow Limited Partnership. Man, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on in the oil industry of us taking, basically helping America, and nobody's talking about this stuff. That's when I heard him sign that, it made me go look, and I'm like, wow, there's a whole lot going on here.
That we were withdrawing Casey Means as the Surgeon General, sir, and appointing Dr. Saphir, or nominating Dr. Saphir in her place.
Yeah.
That on the left is the withdrawal, which will later be transmitted to the Senate.
Okay.
And on the right is the new nomination form for our new Surgeon General.
Nicole Sapphire, she's with Fox, was with Fox. Is it with Fox anymore, Peter? But she's great. She'll be the Surgeon General.
Well said, yeah. I believe she's with Memorial Sloan Kettering in New Jersey, sir, and she's an outstanding doctor.
She is. I just don't know how Biden used the auto pen. There's so many things to say.
All right, so they didn't explain what happened there. So I'm going to give you some explanation as to what happened. Casey Means was nominated to be the Surgeon General. And the entire time her nomination's been there, Bill Cassidy has been blocking it. Bill Cassidy, senator from Louisiana, would not let her get confirmed. And so he had to bring somebody else in, which might have just sealed the doom for Bill Cassidy, because now you know why. If you were wondering, all of a sudden, President Trump said this. This was posted today. It says, for months, Senator Bill Cassidy of the great state of Louisiana, a very disloyal person whose Trump endorsement got him elected, but later voted to impeach President Trump on what has now proven to be a total hoax and scam, has stood in the way of RFK Jr.'s nominee, Casey Means, for the important position of the U.S. Surgeon General. I nominated Casey, a strong Maha warrior, at the recommendation of Secretary Kennedy, who understands the Maha movement better than anyone, with perhaps the possible exception of me. Nevertheless, Senator Bill Cassidy's intransigence and political games, Cassidy will continue to fight for Maha on the many important health issues facing our country, such as a rising childhood disease epidemic, increased autism, poor nutrition, and on and on and on. And so he had to pull her nomination to put in a new nomination because of Cassidy. So Cassidy is probably going to be on his way out. He's hoping here. Let me see if he posted something about that in terms of he's going to try and do everything he can at this point to get rid of Bill Cassidy. Let me look here, see if they have it. Just checking something. So anyway, that's why he had to pull her nomination.
Please take this. It's crazy. All 4 years was crazy. Okay. Let's not bring it up. She's going to be great. Surgeon General. Thank you.
This is a proclamation declaring this weekend to be National Fallen Firefighters Memorial Weekend. Awesome. As you know, firefighters do an incredibly difficult, dangerous job, help keep us all safe. This is a proclamation honoring their sacrifice and remembering those who have fallen.
Great.
That is fantastic.
Everybody likes that?
You bet.
Okay, firefighters.
That one deserves one.
Okay.
Lastly, sir, this is another proclamation. Your administration, particularly the First Lady, have made foster and adoptive care major priorities. This is a proclamation declaring National Foster Care Month, honoring those who have participated in foster programs, who have helped raise foster children, and speaking about the many things that your administration, including the First Lady's office, have done on that set of issues.
Yeah, it's been a big thing for the First Lady, so this is in honor of our First Lady.
Well said.
I spent time.
That's all it's got, sir.
I spent time in foster care.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
God is good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President.
So do you have any questions? Maybe we discuss the first signing first. Do you have anything on that?
Mr. President,
Please.
how is this going to help with small business owners? Do you think this is going to inspire more people to go into small businesses that might be reluctant earlier, for IRA, to have their IRA? This is going to help give them.
Well, I'll tell you, small businesses now are thriving. And as you know, more people are working right now than at any time in the history of our country. We're doing great. And there's more investment being made in the United States than any country at any time in history. And a lot of that's AI, and a lot of that's maybe in a certain way, maybe more importantly, auto plants are all coming back to our country. They're coming back from different countries where they left us, for Germany, as you know, and Japan, and South Korea, and Canada, Mexico. And they're all coming back at levels that nobody's ever seen before. And tariffs did it. I did it. Maybe the election did it, but tariffs did it. And if they build here, they don't have to pay tariffs. We have Germany is giving a lot of companies are coming in from Germany, from Japan. Japan just announced $10 billion more plants going to be built between Toyota and Honda and all the different companies they're pouring into our country. In South Korea, Canada, they're coming in. I don't know what they're doing, but I can tell you they're coming in tremendously from Canada. There's no reason they don't want to pay the tariff, and because of that, they're investing at levels never seen before. We will, for 30 years we virtually didn't build an auto plant in this country, and now we're doing more than we've ever done. So I'm very proud of that. AI is going wild. We're doing great, and we're letting them build their own electric, but we're actually making them build their own electric plant, so they take tremendous amounts of energy to have a successful plant. And they're building, all of the new ones are building their own electric plant, like a utility, and any extra they'll either give it or sell it for a good price to local communities and to the grid. So it's going to be fantastic. But we have tremendous amounts of factories being built in our country now, more than we've ever had at any time ever before. And we have the biggest investment being made in our country. In the history of our country, by the way, in the history of any country, there's never been a country that has the kind of investment coming in that we have right now. And these things are being built right now. So you're not going to see the results. I mean, you'll see construction results. You notice the construction workers are through the roof. But when they open, the numbers are going to be staggering. Do you have a question?
I certainly do. Thank you, Mr. President. You had some good economic news, GDP, 2% growth. New orders for business equipment surged to the highest level in 6 years. And IRS data shows that the average federal tax return is up by more than 11% when you compare it to the same time as last year. Do you believe that this is evidence?
Over 100%.
Do you believe that this is evidence that the big, beautiful tax cuts that you signed into law last year are working? And do you think the economy is going to continue to hum as the year progresses?
Yeah, thank you. So the biggest tax cut in history is in the great, big, beautiful bill. And I think, I see it. I actually see it reported where people are shocked at how much money they're making. They can't believe the refunds that they're making. 5,000, 6,000, 7, 8, 9. I saw one last night on television, 11,000 more than she thought she was going to get. And it's no tax on tips and no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security for our seniors, no tax on social. Nobody can believe it even. And the numbers are far greater than they thought. People that thought they were going to make an extra $500 turns out they're making an extra $5,000. So it's been really great, yeah. And that's going to carry forward. Look, the country's doing really well. And that's despite a military operation. I don't call it a war. I'd rather have a military operation where really, Iran is dying to make a deal. I can only tell you that. I don't want to get into it, but they cannot be nuclear other than that. But their Navy's gone, their Air Force is gone. Every ounce of any form of equipment practically is gone. You know, their drone factories are about 82% down, and their missile factories are almost 90% down. And many of their missiles have been knocked out. They used some, but we knocked out more than they used. And it's pretty amazing what's happened. They want to make a deal. But despite the fact that we are in what some people would call a war, we just hit a new high today on the stock market. We have S&P is through the roof. They're through the roof. And, you know, when we hit 50,000 on the Dow and 7,000 on the S&P, I said to myself, we got to do something about Iran. They want to have a nuclear weapon. You can't let them have a nuclear weapon. And I hated to do it to my people because they said 50,000. Peter, you know this, that 50,000 wouldn't be obtainable in my 4 years or anybody's 4 years. And we hit 50,000 in my first year, the end of my first year. We hit 7,000 on the S&P. They said that would be even less attainable. And we hit that at the end of the first year, before the year was up. And then I said to Kevin, sorry about this, Kevin, but we have to put out a fire. And the fire is taking place in the lovely country of Iran. And they want to have a nuclear weapon. And if we didn't use this beautiful, see that plane right there, that beautiful B-2 bomber? It looks small there, but it's actually quite large. It doesn't look very powerful there, but it's quite large, actually. We ordered 25 more of them, the updated version, all built in America, which is very nice, right? But if we didn't have that B-2 bomber, if we didn't go in and do what we did, we obliterated that nuclear capacity of theirs, and so they didn't get the nuclear bomb. If we didn't do that attack, should have been done long before I came along by other presidents or by another country or something, but it should have been done long before I came along. But they are in very bad shape. They've got nothing going, including leadership. I mean, you know, their leaders are gone. Now they have a whole new, their first string leaders are gone, their second string leaders are gone. Now we're dealing with their third string. But we'll see what happens. It's been an amazing period of time between Venezuela and where we're doing great. We're getting along with them great. We're working very closely with them there.
I just wanted to jump in real quick because this was some big news today. American Airlines, for the first time in like years, I think they said 2002, resumed flights from Miami to Venezuela. So that's perfect what he just said there. Things are going well with Venezuela.
They're doing more oil now than they've done in many, many decades, actually. And they're making more money, and so are we. You know, it's like a joint venture, to be honest. And we've paid for the attack many times over. The attack, something you've never heard before, probably. I always used to say to the victor, belong the spoils. But we've paid for the attack, which is always expensive. But it was a less than 1 day attack. It was actually a 45-minute attack. And that's a good, you know, they have a good military in Venezuela, but they did not expect that and that and that and that. Other than that. But when these suckers come at you at 2,500 miles an hour, at 25 feet off the ground, you say, this is not what I bargained for. This is no good. Anyway, and now, you know, Venezuela was amazing, but now we're doing essentially, it's larger, but we're doing essentially the same thing in Iran. Can't let Iran have a nuclear weapon. And their economy is crashing. The blockade is incredible. The power of the blockade is incredible. They're not getting any money from oil. And hopefully it can be worked out very soon. Yeah.
Iran is proving to be very stubborn. The talks seem like they are stalled. Are you getting antsy to break the ceasefire?
Well, I mean, I don't know what stubborn is because really nobody knows what the talks are except myself and a couple of other people. They want to make a deal badly. we have a problem because nobody knows for sure who the leaders are. It's a little bit of a problem, you know. The leaders have been wiped out along with their military, almost all of their military. I mean, think of it. 159 ships was their total Navy. 159 ships are gone. They're underwater. They're way below sea level. Sea level is a big difference. Pretty deep waters over there, too. So, I don't know that we need it. We might need it.
And on Iran, a little while ago, the president of FIFA said that when the World Cup is here in the U.S., the team from Iran will be playing in the games.
Well, if Johnny said it, I'm okay. Did Johnny say it?
He did. What if they
Johnny
win?
Infantino, that's a piece of work.
What if they win?
Well, if they win, we'll have to worry about that. That's not. I'm going to have to worry about that one. Look, you know what? Let him play well. Johnny's fantastic. You know, he's a friend of mine, and he talked about it. I said, you do whatever you want. You can have them. You don't have to have them. Probably have a good team. I don't know. Do they have a good team? Do you have any idea?
I have no idea.
Would be hard to believe, actually. But I think let them play. Right?
This is a little bit different, but what is your take on these reports that your show, The Apprentice, is going to could come back on Amazon with host Donald Trump Jr.?
Well, I've been hearing it. Look, we had a great success, 14 seasons, and The Apprentice was a tremendous success. So I've been hearing that, you know, a little bit. So we'll see what happens. He's good. He's a good guy. He'd be probably good. He's got a little charisma going. You need a little charisma for that sucker. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, they told me about it. We'll see.
Mr. President, thank you, Mr. President. There's been some talks about changes to your security after what took place.
Changing my security.
Changing your security after what took place.
Well, they did a pretty good job, actually. You know, they stopped the NFL running back. I mean, he was like a running back. In fact, if he ever got out, they're probably going to sign him. He was a speedy guy, but he was stopped. They had many levels in front of him before he would even come to us. You know, you could be a baseball team and win 19-0, and somebody could say, you should have won 21. You should have gotten 25 runs. The team was no good or something. So I don't know. I can only say that I know a lot of those people at Secret Service, and they were good and they were forceful. And I saw the guys in front of me. They were powerful-looking guys. I said we could send them to Hollywood. They could make movies. I think that there's always room for improvement, right? And he got into the building. The problem is I know that's what I do. I build buildings like that. You know, much nicer, actually, but I build buildings like that. And, you know, when you have 1,000 rooms sitting on top of a ballroom and you have the elevators coming down right near the entrance, it's a pretty tough situation. Now, right outside, we have something that's on time, on budget, actually ahead of time, ahead of budget depending on finishes. You know, finishes is a big difference between marble and onyx in price, but it's right on budget, right on time. And that's built to the highest standards of security. No units on top, no hotel built on top where an elevator comes right down through the middle of it. It's a tough location. That's a tough location. So I think I know the people at Secret Service. I think they're great, and I think the Congress has to take care of those people. You know, we're talking about ICE. We're talking about Border Patrol, Secret Service. Everyone is. The Democrats essentially want to defund the police. Just so you know, that's right. They want to defund law enforcement. It's crazy. These people have gone crazy. I heard Hakeem Jeffries, a low IQ person. He's a very low IQ, screaming today that the Supreme Court is illegitimate. I mean, that's a dangerous statement. Then if I say something modest, they say, oh, he's a king, he's a king. They're sick. But Hakeem Jeffries said the Supreme Court is illegitimate. That's a rough statement. If I made that statement, it would be the biggest story out there. Bad.
Exactly. if he said that, they would be going crazy. He posted about it. He said Hakeem Jeffries just called the Supreme Court of the United States an illegitimate court. This is a low IQ individual who should not be allowed to talk that way about one of the greatest institutions anywhere in the world. He should withdraw the statement immediately. Of course, he won't. And President Trump, his picture that he posted with it, showing a stern-looking face to Hakeem for calling the Supreme Court illegitimate. And I'm going to show you some stuff after the press conference regarding some more residual crap from the Supreme Court.
One of the ideas, the average price of a gallon of gas is now $4.30 in this country.
And you know what? And we're not going to have a nuclear weapon in the hands of Iran. The gas will go down. As soon as the war's over, it'll drop like a rock. There's so much of it. It's all over the place, sitting all over the oceans of the world. And it'll go down. But what won't happen is if Iran had a nuclear weapon and used it, then the whole world is a different place.
What about
You're not going to have to pay a little bit more for gasoline. The gasoline, the oil will go down rapidly as soon as the war is over.
Good to see you again, sir. I've got two questions. The first, I want to follow up on Daniel's question. I've described you as the peacemaker. You're achieving peace around the world. Due to these latest policies, big beautiful bill, no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime, now the Trump account, and then the IRA account, could we describe you as the wealth maker?
Well, I'm helping people out. It's a nice question, actually, but I'm helping people out. These people are with me. You know, these are great people. And feel free to speak up if you'd like, because they wanted this to happen, and we got it done. And they're Republican people, I think, in all cases, right? In all cases. It's crazy. We need, like always, unanimous, because the Democrats, they will vote against anything, no matter how good. If they had their favorite thing in the world, and we happen to want it, but we found a new strategy. We're going to oppose every single thing that we want, and we'll get unanimous votes. So I'm going to come up and oppose everything, Brian, from this point forward, and they'll vote for it. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's very interesting. You're the wealth president. You're the wealth maker. We haven't had, in my lifetime, I haven't had a president who's trying to increase your revenue. Understand, and I don't want this to sound bad, but they're continuing to harp on the gas prices. Well, I did some grokking like SV always does. I did some grokking. It said to me that the average person, obviously some will do more, some will do less, the average person drives 1,200 miles per month. 1,200 miles. And if you have an average of 25 miles per gallon, then you're basically buying 50 or so gallons per month. If the price of oil for the last 2 months has gone up $1, $1.50 per gallon, $2 per gallon, it has cost an additional $100 per month or per fill up. Right? You getting it so far? Because if there's only been 2 months in Iran, and I just took you through the math, 1,200 miles a month, so 2 months of $50 each, 50 gallons each, and those 50 gallons, if they're $2 a gallon more, depending on where you live, that means you have spent $100 or $200 in just 2 months. Now I want you to go back and say, how is that offset by no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, bigger tax returns? And I'm not trying to make light of the fact that it may have cost you an extra $100 or $200 over the last 2 months, but what are we really talking about here? What is the relative number we are speaking that is causing people so much uproar to the point where they didn't notice so far? So far, I don't know how much we got into this, but there's been not a single question about how this is going to impact people financially. It's like they never even heard it. Oh, you know, so when do you expect gas prices to go down? Did you hear what I just proposed? Did you hear how I just proposed these IRA 401K accounts. Did you hear what we're doing with kids with the Trump accounts? How was your tax return? Are you getting no tax on tips, no tax on... What the heck is going on? How are people so pissed off about gas? And that's assuming that your gas has gone up $2 a gallon. And that assumes you drive the whole 12. Obviously, there'll be more people who drive more. I don't drive that much. I drive from one studio to the other. How are we just harping on this one thing? And nobody in the press acts or talks about any of the other stuff he's doing to help Americans accumulate wealth. Doesn't make any sense.
Good question. You created Space Force on the second end, towards the end of your first administration. Right. You just had the Artemis II crew in here. I know it's a big accomplishment. What do you see moving forward, the duration of your administration in terms of space exploration? I know that was a big moment for you.
Well, doing Space Force I think it's going to go down as one of my more important things. It's turning out. Even a lot of these great military operations that we have right now, when you look at Venezuela, when you look at like the decimation of Iran, which was considered powerful, it was the bully of the Middle East. And a lot of that took place so effectively because of what's coming out of space. When we did Space Force, when I did Space Force, I'm very proud of it, space was like... We were third. China was first. Russia was second. Now we've leapfrogged. We're way ahead of China. We're way ahead of Russia. And we made some great choices. The first person that headed Space Force, and really after that we had a couple of really great people heading it. Always very important. And a new person is heading it now. I think he has a chance to be as good as anybody, as good as, maybe better, I don't know. But we've had great people heading up Space Force. It's been very important. It's been very important for what we're doing with respect to the different places. And as far as peace, I settled 8 wars. And people try and dispute it, but then they go over them. And almost in every case, they sent letters thanking me and letters to the Nobel Committee. I don't care about that. Maria was very nice. She gave me her Nobel Peace Prize because she said she didn't deserve it. She was very, very nice. But I settled 8 wars. And in every case, the people, the prime ministers or presidents wrote letters thanking me. And in the case of India, look, the biggest one would have been Pakistan, India. The prime minister of Pakistan said, I saved from 30 to 50 million lives, but it could have been more than that. 2 nuclear nations were going at it. 11 airplanes were shot down. They were in the first week of what would have been a very bad war, and I got it solved. You know how I got it solved? By the use of tariffs. I said, I'm going to charge you tariffs if you guys keep fighting. And they said, oh, please don't do that.
You just lifted the tariffs, right? You just lifted some tariffs on whiskey? Is that correct?
Yeah, what I'm doing is for as long as I've been here, they've wanted to, you know, Kentucky, which is a great place. And I also won, Jason, by a lot. But Kentucky, with the bourbon, and Scotland with the whiskey, and they've had trade for years and years and years, and a lot of restrictions, a lot of different restrictions took place that didn't amount to much, and it really stopped them. I don't know if you know, it's a barrel trade. They use the barrels from the one to take care of the other, and the barrels are only good for 1 unit. In other words, they can't be used twice. They can only be used once, but the once makes it a better substance. I'm not a big drinker, so forgive me. But it makes them a big substance and a better taste. But they dealt for years. This was Scotland and Kentucky, mostly Kentucky. And I just took all the restrictions off. So Scotland and Kentucky can start dealing again. And I did it in honor of the king and queen who just left. They're heading back. It was a big deal. They've been trying to get this for a long time.
Yes, sir.
All right, so let me cover that for you. President Trump posted this. He says, in honor of the King and Queen of the United Kingdom who have just left the White House, soon headed back to their wonderful country, I will be removing the tariffs and restrictions on whiskey having to do with Scotland's ability to work with the Commonwealth of Kentucky on whiskey and bourbon. two very important industries within Scotland and Kentucky. People have wanted to do this for a long time, in that there had been great inter-country trade, especially having to do with the wooden barrels that they use to put bourbon and whiskey in. The king and queen got me to do something nobody else was able to do without hardly even asking. A wonderful honor to have them both here in the United States, and that's where that question just came from.
You talked about possibly pulling out some troops out of Germany. Would you be considering the same thing for Spain and Italy? I mean, they haven't been exactly on board.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I probably will. Why should I? Look, why shouldn't I? Italy has not been of any help to us, and Spain has been horrible, absolutely horrible. It's NATO. It's not even the fact that they're bad. It's one thing if they said nicely, or if they said, okay, we'll help, but the help's a little slow. But the level, and we helped them with Ukraine. They made a mess out of Ukraine, a total mess. And we helped them with Ukraine. Ukraine has nothing to do, we're an ocean apart. It has to do with them. It's like for them, it's their front door. We helped them. And Biden gave them $350 billion, which was insane. It's one of the reasons the war went on. But when we needed them, they were not there. We have to remember that. And so if we ever have a big one, because we didn't need any help with Iran. We had Iran right from the first day. It was over. It was over. And now it's even more so. We're so locked and loaded if we want to do. But we didn't need the help. And to a certain extent, I asked them, I didn't need the help, but I said, yeah, we'd love to have you help, because I wanted to see if they do it. And they, in all cases, they said, we don't want to get involved. And the amazing thing is they use the Strait of Hormuz. We don't. We don't use it. We don't need it. We have a lot of oil. Well, wait a minute. And they use it, we don't. And you would have thought they would have said, we would love to help you. But they didn't, which I think was a burst. And Germany, he's doing a terrible job. He's got immigration problems. He's got energy problems. He's got problems of all kinds. And he's got a big problem with Ukraine, because they're in that mess. And he criticized me for doing the whole thing with Iran. But I said, would you like to have a nuclear weapon in the hands of Iran? He said, no, I don't. I said, well, then I guess I'm right. He didn't have any answer to that. The bottom line is, for this world, for our country, but certainly for Israel, the Middle East, and Europe, much closer, you cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. And if you agree that Iran can't have a nuclear weapon, which most people agree, almost everybody, it should have been done a long time ago. But if you agree they can't have a nuclear weapon, then what I did has been executed perfectly, because our military has decimated them. Yeah, please go ahead.
Mr. President, two questions for you. Leah Shirazi from the Daily Mail. You have called this the new regime before in Iran, but I speak to Iranians on a daily basis, and they tell me that these are the same people that have murdered them, executed them, repressed them. I talked to them through the blackout, and they wanted me to ask you this question. And second of all, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, how come he's not involved in these conversations?
Oh, he's very much involved. Marco is he's negotiating with them all the time. Look, Iran killed 42,000 people over the last 2 months, protesters. They were going to kill 8 women whose lives I saved, and I appreciate that they didn't do it. I asked them not to do it. They didn't do it. They were getting ready to hang the women. They were going to hang 8 beautiful women that were... it just caught the imagination of a lot of people. People were talking about it. It was inconceivable. You saw those 8 beautiful people, and they were going to be executed that evening. This was a week ago. And I got on the phone very quickly, and I said, don't do it, don't do it. The whole world is watching, don't do it. And they didn't do it. I appreciate it. I guess 4 were released, and the other 4 are going to be released in a month. They were ready to be executed that night. So they take a tough, they knocked out the wrestler they killed. They killed the wrestler's teammates. He was a world champion wrestler. He was a great wrestler, great, talented wrestler. They killed him because he protested. He spoke. He wasn't wrestling. What he did is he spoke negatively about the regime, and they killed him. They executed him, along with his friends. They killed 42,000 people. So when you say about, they say that I do the same, I don't do the same. I'm trying to save that country in a certain way, and nobody's ever seen it. Think of it. They killed 42,000 innocent, not weapon-carrying people for protesting. 42,000. And the number they say is a lot higher than that. There's a rough group, but we have decimated them. And their economy is a disaster. So we'll see how long they hold out. We'll see.
Mr. President, President Trump, Saudi Arabia is pulling the plug on Live Golf. Once that tour is gone, do you think the PGA Tour should welcome the defectors back with open arms?
Well, I do. It's a great question.
I don't know what's wrong with Ducey. Lately, all he wants to talk about is sports. He talked about the World Cup soccer team in Iran, and now he's talking about the golf issue between Liv and the PGA, which probably most of you don't care about, but he does know President Trump is an avid golfer, but it might not have been the place for this.
If I had time, I'd love to watch television today, because the PGA Tour is playing at Doral, the Cadillac Championship. And I said, who's winning? I don't get a chance. I can't even look at it.
Jordan Spieth was in the lead earlier.
Who is?
Jordan Spieth.
Oh, that's good. He's good. Great guy. Good putter, to put it mildly, right? He's a very great guy. Chipper putter. No, it's they're at my tournament right now, the PGA. In 2 weeks, Liv is going to be at my course right here on the Potomac. No, I'd love to see Liv, but I do believe that all of the golfers should be playing, the great golfers should be playing against each other. I do believe, it's sort of, they were viewing something as a monopoly, but it's in a way, it should be the opposite of a monopoly. I want to see Rory playing Bryson DeChambeau. I want to see Big John Rahm playing Scotty, who's so great, right? Scotty Scheffler is great. And I want to see him play John Rahm and Bryson and all the different guys. They have great players on the Live. But it's almost like people want to see that. That's why the Masters was so good, because you saw everybody together. Patrick Reed played great. He's on Live and he played great. And they all did. They all played. They're great players. I play with them. They're very good. When I think I'm a good player and then I play with them, I don't think I'm that good. But there's something nice about all of the players playing together. Now, they'll all be accepted by the tour. There's no question, because they're great. If they weren't, but the tour really will. The tour wants to have the best player. You can't have the best player that they're boycotting. Now, they may do something, a little bit, but they'll all be back on tour, and it'll be great. And, having one tour, now I don't know what's happening with Liv. I'm not sure what's happening with Liv. But they are playing in my course 2 weeks on the Potomac, beautiful course. But right now they're playing at Doral, which I own. And if we end this early, I'll be able to watch for about 3 minutes before I get back onto the economy and every other subject that we have, including Iran. We're doing so well with Iran, so I think so.
I know. I was worried about why Ducey made that question, but he knew Trump was going to go off. I mean, none of the other questions did he have that kind of an answer. And he just went on and on, talked about the players. And I'm sure some of the reporters were like, oh, God, who asked him the golf question?
Yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Jennifer Schonberger with Yahoo Finance. Question on clarification of the Trump IRAs versus a regular IRA.
Right.
Does it come down to the difference of a federal match? Who would qualify for that? And secondly, do you have any reaction to Federal Reserve Chair Jay Powell staying on the Board of Governors? Were you prepared to take any action on that?
No, I don't care. If he stays on, he stays on. That doesn't. I just want to make sure that Kevin became the head. It's very unusual that they stay on. I predicted he would, because who's going to hire him, frankly. So I predicted he would stay on. But he's a negative. I think he's a negative force. The thing that angered me about him more than interest rates was the fact that he could allow a building to cost billions of dollars more than it was supposed. I could have built that building. I could have renovated and fixed that building, which is what I do. I always did well with it. for $25 million. They're going to spend maybe $4 billion. It's not even close to being opened. You know, Kevin, who's going to be fantastic, I don't know if he's going to have an office. I'm going to have to put him right here. I'm going to give him that. We'll cut the oval in half. I'll give him half of the oval. No, it's, I think, I'm very happy about Kevin. I think he's a star. And the other Kevin, we're going to talk to you. Could you answer her question?
Yeah, sure. It's a great question, and the match is a super important part of it, and it's one reason why we're calling on our friends here to potentially expand it so that right now the match is capped at $35,000, but there's a whole academic literature that this match has a big effect on people's willingness to save and their long-run welfare. And so the differences really are the match. We're creating the TrumpIRA.gov website, so it'll be really, really easy for people to have access to private companies that have to follow the TSP rules that are really low cost and so on, so that they'll get the best possible investment. And finally, you've noticed that Michael Dell has given money, promised money for the Trump accounts. We've also made it clear that the Trump IRA charities can contribute to other people's accounts.
And I imagine this will boost the stock market and economy further.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want?
I have a question. How come President Trump is in office and we see all these big businessmen giving money to help American people, yet the Democrat donors just give to the Democrat Party? I never see them starting funds for babies and people who might need something. Their checks all go to the Democrat Party. That's a huge disparity. It's a disparity. We should probably look into that. President Trump has businessmen and giant people with money doing stuff to help American people. Nobody ever talks about it. George Clooney and his pals, they give money to the Democrat Party.
Mention phase two. We're doing phase one today because I can do that without Congress. But phase two is going to be something that would be unbelievable. Do you want to just give a little summation? We'll be going back to Congress to ask for this.
Right. So the basic headline is that if you look at the huge success of Australia in their retirement savings accounts, that we're working with the Treasury Secretary, he and I, and Jason Smith and other members of Congress to come up with something that's pretty close or in the direction of the Australian system.
Or better.
Or better.
They have a couple of little glitches that we'll get rid of.
But there's absolutely no contemplation of harming Social Security in any way. This is meant to be an add-on for that.
It'll be very exciting. It's going to be great. We'll be pretty quick. Pretty fast. We're going to move pretty fast.
Can I pull up?
Something that we talked about. Something that we talked about a couple weeks ago. There's all these missing scientists who had access to classified material. A bunch of them have turned up they're either missing or they have turned up dead. Have you been briefed yet about whether or not these cases are connected?
Yeah, I have.
And can you tell us if they are connected?
Well, so far, I mean, they're individual. We have a lot of scientists. So when you see, you put together 10, it's a lot, but it's, a very small number compared to what overall. We have a lot of scientists. I was asking that question. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of scientists. So, some of them that we looked at are very sad cases in some cases. Some were sick. Some left this earth self-inflicted. Some had other things. So far, there's not a major, there's sometimes a little bit of a connection anyway, and you say, oh, this is a terrible thing. But so far, we're finding that there's not much of a connection. We'll let you know. We're going to be doing a full report on it. It's very serious stuff.
And so to follow up on my question earlier, have you been informed if the Secret Service agent who was shot on Saturday, if that was from friendly fire or if it was from the suspect?
Well, they say it was not friendly fire.
So you're hearing that it's from?
Well, that's what I heard. I heard that. They said it wasn't friendly fire.
Okay.
It was actually reported.
I want to jump in here real quick. Obviously, YouTube doesn't like you showing it, but U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro just posted the video showing the entire lead up into the shooting. And she writes here, I can post this for you, you can see it. She writes here, today we are releasing video already provided to the U.S. District Court showing Cole Allen shoot the U.S. Secret Service officer during his attempt to assassinate the president at the White House Correspondents. There is no evidence that the shooting was a result of friendly fire. The video also shows Allen casing the area in the Hilton Hotel the day before the attack. My office, along with the FBI, will continue this extensive investigation. And she posted a video, and I can probably show a little bit of it. This is him casing out the facility. Obviously, this probably was the day beforehand. He's just chilling. And then it probably jumps, playback is increased 300% because he's just chilling in there. All right, so I'm not going to show the rest of it. You guys can look it up on Gene. I keep saying Judge Janine, Gene Pirro's post.
You read the reports because it was actually reported.
Yes, sir. I read through the DOJ memo.
Yeah, but, well, then why do you ask me the question?
I don't believe it said that the agent was struck by.
I'm just saying they said it wasn't friendly fire.
And he hasn't been charged
yet. It wasn't
yet.
us.
Okay, and he hasn't been charged yet with that. Of course, that could come. I want to follow up on the security changes. Is there talks about you potentially wearing a bulletproof vest moving forward, given you have now been shot at?
I don't know if I can handle looking 20 pounds heavier. These guys, they look so good. Some of these guys are physical specimens. Some of these guys are trouble. I don't want to be near him. If you want to gain 20 to 25 pounds, get a vest. And frankly, the vest did an amazing job because it took a bullet close up. And he didn't even want to go to the hospital. I mean, we sent him to the hospital just in case, but he didn't want, still a hit. But he didn't want to go to the hospital. The vest totally protected him. Still a lot of power behind that shot, though. That's like getting hit by Mike Tyson. But it's amazing. I've been asked about that, and I guess it's something you consider. In one way, you don't like to do it because you're giving into a bad element, and so I don't know. But I have been asked about it.
How nervous are you about it happening again? Another assassination attempt?
I don't think about it.
You don't think about it at all?
If I did, I wouldn't be doing a very good job here. I'd be thinking about nothing but that. I don't think about it. I don't think about it. If I did, I wouldn't be effective. Okay.
Mr. President, real quickly, you pushed on True Social, calling on Senate Republicans to blow up the filibuster. It is a big issue with MAGA. MAGA wants you to get rid of it.
They should
Why don't they do it?
Why don't they do it?
I don't know.
I have no idea. You know why, I guess? Because they have 3 or 4 that are like hardline. The same ones that are hardline, no to everything. And if you don't have all of them, we have a very small majority. John Thune's a good man. I said to him, John, just go take the vote. Let's expose who the people are. But, if we got rid of the filibuster, we could vote on the Save America Act, voter ID. You act so good. I love this. He's a great guy. Even though I don't love his girlfriend too much, okay? I won't tell you who the girlfriend is. But I like him, and I've always liked him. It's great that he hasn't changed. But Brian, I think here's the problem. It's not even imaginable to me why. And people are angry about it. I'm talking about Republicans are angry about it. The filibuster should be terminated. If the Democrats ever get a shot, which probably, based on history, sometime they will use it in the first minute of the first hour, and they will execute all of the bad things. 21 justices, they really like 21. I heard 13, but they really want 21 Supreme Court justices. And they really want to have D.C. and Puerto Rico become states. That would mean automatic 4 senators go into the Democrat column. And there's not even a chance that they don't do it and do it immediately. Now, with that knowledge, because you could argue whether it's good or bad, but I don't think it's that much of an argument, frankly. But you could argue, with that knowledge that they're going to do it immediately, why wouldn't you do it as a Republican? Unless you have bad motives almost. But if we did it, we could pass one bill after the other. We could pass laws and acts and things that we never even dreamt of passing. And you know what else? We wouldn't lose for 50 years. You know, if we terminated the filibuster, we would have a 50-year run. You'd stop cheating. I mean, look, they're professional cheats, and they're great at it. That's what they're best at, because you can't get elected with their policy. You can't get elected with men and women's sports, with transgender mutilization of our children, with open borders for jails to be dropped into our country, and mental institutions, and drug dealers and murderers. Think of it, 11,888 murders come into our country. Nobody even talks to them about it, right? We got a lot of them out because of, you know what? Because of ICE, which they don't want to fund. They're defunding our police. When they defund ICE and with Border Patrol and Secret Service, they're defunding our police. The same thing as they're doing with an officer on the street corner. So why the Republicans Senate doesn't just sit in there and just do it and take a negative vote and do it again and again like the Democrats do. They go again and again. The war power. I'm negotiating a deal with Iran. And every week, every 3 days, they put in a thing that the war should stop. And people ask me, how the hell do you negotiate like that? You're destroying them. Every day I read, think of it, we militarily decapitated the country. And every day I read about how well they're doing militarily. They got nothing left. They're done. And yet I read in the New York Times, I see on that stupid CNN, which I only watch because you have to watch a little bit of the enemy, so I watch it for a very short period. But you have to be smart. And if you see CNN, you'd think they're winning the war. If you read the New York Times, it's actually seditious, in my opinion. You read the New York Times, you actually think they're winning the war. I read some of these columnists, but it all starts from the top. It's a terrible thing. So we're negotiating with them, and they read how well they're doing, and they're sitting in a cave, and all their leaders are dead. Everyone's dead around them. Missiles are all over the place. They have no Navy, they have no Air Force, they have no nothing. We can fly right over the middle of Tehran without being shot at because they have no anti-aircraft. They have nothing. And they're reading that they're winning the war. They're trying to figure it out. They get the New York Times, I guess, in some form, and they think we're crazy. But, you know, I'm supposed to be negotiating, and they make you negotiate from weakness, not strength. But the difference is I don't care, and everybody knows the facts. We are decimating that country. I got a call today from another country that's more on our side than that Middle Eastern country, saying, sir, please don't hit them anymore. They're decimated. Please. He's actually helping them. He's actually saying, please. And yet the New York Times will tell you that they're winning the war. It's so sad. I hate to even say that because when I say that, people out watching, they'll say, oh, maybe they are winning the war just by the fact that I'm saying it. And it's so ridiculous. They're being decimated. We have the greatest military in the world. And one thing that's come out of this and Venezuela, some of the things that have happened, I rebuilt the military in my first term. Thank you. And did a good job. And also the first year of this term. We have the greatest military in the world. When I spoke with President Xi, when I spoke with President Putin, I have great respect for what I've done and what our military does. We have a military like no other. You know, when we attacked Venezuela, their equipment, none of it worked. It was all good equipment, but it was discombobulated. You know what that means? They pressed the buttons and nothing happened. They said, what the hell's going on? They heard that weird buzzing sound from way up high.
Tell us more what the discombobulator is. We've been waiting since June for people to tell us what the discombobulator is. And, you know, he just gave us a little bit more information there. Because they're looking around at the buzzing. Okay, so now we know a little bit more about the discombobulator. There's some sort of buzzing sound, and it renders rifles and nothing can happen. Oh, please make a movie on the discombobulator.
It's amazing how great our military is. And for us to read, it's like the B-2 bombers right there. Late at night, 8 months ago, they went into Iranian territory, and Iran was waiting for them. And they were firing at the wrong targets. They were firing at their planes, but they didn't see them. And with no moon, dark at night, they dropped each plane at 2 bombs, 14 bombs. Every one of those 14 bombs went right down an air chute. Think of it. They followed the...
Did you see the guy behind him go like that? Like he knew, they've already been briefed on it. They know. And if the guy behind him, I wish they pull out so I can see who it is. If he knows, then the Democrats know as well.
Beam right into the chute. And every single one of those bombs, very powerful, 200,000 pound bombs, every one of those bombs went right down an air chute. Late at night, think of it, late at night with no moon, you couldn't see a thing. They put those, and they went into territory. All of a sudden, I was watching, they got faster. Then they go like that because the bombs go faster when they head down. I wouldn't want to head down, I'd head up. I'd want to get the hell out of there. And they let the bombs go, and then the first one that let them go was a perfect hit. He said, skedaddle, and that plane turned over on its side, and it went back to a place called Missouri. If you don't mind, Jason.
God's country.
It went back, it wanted to say hello to a very powerful congressman, by the way, from Missouri, Jason. So, every one of those bombs, and yet, before they landed, CNN came out with a report that maybe the damage wasn't that great. The damage was far greater than we said. It was obliteration. When the Atomic Energy Commission went there 1 week later, they say Trump was right. It was obliteration. And they still haven't been. They've had possession of the site. They haven't been able to do anything with it. That stuff is buried. And the reason I took such, I was angry about it, was because it's disrespectful to those pilots and those incredible people, including the people that maintain the planes. Those planes had to fly for 37 hours without stopping. They got the tankers. They had 3 tanker lifts, meaning they had to get refuel up in there. They never landed. They went all the way from Missouri to here and then back. Some went to Guam, which there are those that say that was a way of camouflaging the whole thing, because they followed the ones they thought the ones from Guam were not coming. They were going to take it easy at Guam. That didn't work out too well. But that was amazing. And the New York Times and CNN, they said, well, maybe the B-2 attack wasn't so good. Even to this day I hear it, because we want to get the nuclear dust. It's way down there. You need excavators and everything to get it. But we want to get it. We'll take it one way or the other. We'll get it. We'll either get it or we'll take it. They'll either give it to us or we'll take it. But I think it's very disrespectful to our incredible military when they say, maybe they missed the target. Every single bomb hit the target. Then on top of that, we shot from submarines 30 unbelievable missiles that also hit the target. On top of that, it was complete obliteration. And it was confirmed by Atomic Energy. But even the other day I saw on CNN, well, I don't know. They want the stuff, so therefore the bombs didn't hit. Yeah, we want the stuff. It's way buried. But we want to get it. We will get it. It won't even be hard. But they have to respect our military. They have to. If it were a miss, I tell you, we'd be fine. It would have done a lot of damage. But these bombs went down the air chutes. They'll never build air chutes again in the mountain. They built these air chutes to get Lear up there. They'll have to find a different way because it didn't work. But our military is amazing. There's never been anything like. We have the most powerful military on earth, and it's too bad we have to use it, but we're doing really well. So we'll see how that all works out. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Okay, so you think he's done. He's like, thank you. And I don't know what, somebody asks him something and he starts talking again.
Thank you. How do you like the new floor? So, we had what I do best is build. That's what I do best. I say to people, am I a better builder or politician? And most of them say politician, but that's okay. What I do best is I build. The ballroom will be just like that. So I went out and I have a special black granite. Granite is the most powerful stone there is. Marble is much weaker than granite. I like marble more because marble can be more beautiful, but it's a much weaker stone. When you look at grave sites and you look at a marble plaque, 100 years old, you'll see oftentimes you can almost not read it. When you look at a granite plaque, 100 years old, it looks like it just got put there yesterday. You know, that's a test. But we have the finest granite anyone's ever seen. It's called flawless granite. There's very little of it. And I replaced broken slate that was put here many years ago. I saved the ramp because it's in honor of FDR. FDR right up there, he had that built as a ramp. They said, oh, sir, we'll straighten it. I said, no, you have to leave the ramp. It was built. That ramp was built for FDR with a wheelchair because, you know, it's pretty good slope. But a lot of people say, why is it a ramp? They say, because of FDR. They say, I get it. But we saved that. But we replaced the broken slate. And slate, by the way, is meant for a roof. It's not meant for a sidewalk. And we replaced it with granite, the highest grade granite. It's valued at, you know, they value stones in terms of, that's valued at 1 million plus. That means 1 million plus years. A marble will oftentimes be valued at 200 years, 300 years. This is giving you a little lesson in stone. Somebody will say, he went off on a tangent. Something wrong. Like I did with the pen. I gave you a little thing of the pen, that pen is better than the one that cost $2,000 that you're handing to everyone. See, this one, I can hand to these guys, that's worth $3. Okay? So, anyway, but I always felt guilty. But they said, he went off on a tangent. I always say, if you don't find it interesting, leave during it. But the granite path, in fact, if you can, let them leave through that door. It's just completed. We had it completed for King Charles. On time, on budget. I paid for it, so, you know, it's very expensive. I would tell you.
Does he love this?
He loved it. He loved it. He's seen some nice
The
stone.
Trump Renaissance. This is a Trump Renaissance.
Well, we're fixing the White House. But it was sort of terrible. People would walk to the Oval Office over broken slate. Again, slate is used on roofs. It's not used where people walk on it, and it's been walked on for a long time in many, many broken pieces. So I said to do it right. Now, the other thing I did, if you want to have a look, all of the columns, they had 200 years of paint on them. Wow. And they looked terrible, and, you know, they were chipped and broken, and when you have a lot of paint, and I stripped the columns back down to the original stone and painted them, and you'll see it. But you may want to, final touches, little touch up here with the paint, get a little hit by a couple of these heavy stones, you know, they're very heavy, thick, it's thick granite. But that granite's valued at over 1 million years. So it was a lifetime. 1 million plus, that's your max. Why don't you walk out there and take a look, okay? I think and the company that did it, if you look at the setting, each point is perfect. So Peter, take a look. Tell your father if I did a good job.
There's only one. He's one of a kind. Hey, wait a minute, come back here. Let me tell you about this Stones. And he sat there and talked for like 3 or 4 minutes after they were dismissed. Can you imagine being one of the ladies in there who's responsible for ushering people out? All right, everybody out. Wait a minute. What's he's talking again. He's talking about the granite and the marble and everything and how he's doing this and doing that. With all of that being said, it was 100% obviously authentic. Now, I've used the word contrast quite a bit when I do my shows. When you see what the Democrats are doing versus how does this man look worried whatsoever? He's not an actor, even though he's on television. He doesn't look like he's got a care in the world. Everything is great. We're doing fine. Hey, let me tell you about this marble thing. I feel like I've gone to my uncle's house or something. Hey, come here. Let me take you in the garage and let me show you what I've been doing. Dude, I just came over for a second. I didn't know I was going to have to watch your construction project because he's comfortable. Doesn't look worried. I mean, you can't fake that. I wanted to make sure that got included because you'll never see that on television. And it gives you a glimpse into somebody who's got the weight of the world on his shoulders. So much going on, and he doesn't look worried whatsoever. Yet these other ones are running around like chickens with their heads cut off. They're going crazy. They can't even take it. They're losing it. SB, I think SB's got some information that's going to cause some more consternation with the left. SB, you texted me, said you had something that was breaking that's going to freak these people out even more.
Oh man, there's been a couple news stories since then, but I was just using my troll discombobulator on one of the viewers because I just zapped them.
Let me ask you a question. I don't see it. You see it. What can you be controlling about in regards to an IRA or a 401K? Where does a troll have an issue? I mean, are they? I don't get it. What's their issue?
He's not moving fast enough. He's not doing this. He's not doing that. The gas price is too high. It's affecting me. I'm going to fix budget. We all have to tighten our belts. It's short-term pain for long-term happiness and prosperity. Some folks don't get it.
Do they not get it, or they not want to get it? I mean, like I try to break it down mathematically because we know this thing in Iran's been going on for just 2 months. We know that Biden was in office and all hell was breaking loose. And so now you can't, I mean, forget tighten the belt. I got all kinds of dogs making noise here.
Yeah, I heard that.
Stop, Midas. Oh. Let me take a break and get him out of here. I'll come back to you.
All right.
He's coming.
Welcome back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
The Amazon guy gets these dogs going all kinds of crazy. So,
all right. Well, it gave me time to find the story. No worries. No worries. All right.
Good.
It's official. Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry has suspended U.S. House primaries until July, following the Supreme Court ruling race-based districts are unconstitutional.
Their heads are exploding right now. And so he's officially, I didn't know you could actually do that, but I guess you can, and just suspend the primaries and everything else. And it was interesting you said that, because it's now 7:00. Let me show you guys something. President Trump posted this at 1:45, almost like a hat tip or a winky winky. Says, thank you to the great governor of Louisiana, Jeff Landry, for his leadership on the very important Supreme Court case and for moving so quickly to fix the unconstitutionality of Louisiana congressional maps. He has shown tremendous vision, strength, and leadership. Thank you, Jeff. Keep up the great work, President Trump. So did he know at 1:45 it was coming? Because
he knows everything. Come on. He knows.
Well, hold on. Let me tell you, if he knows, well, then I think you might want to see this one, because if he knows in advance, here, this is the other one he put up. He put this up at 12:55. I had a very good conversation with Governor Bill Lee of Tennessee, wherein he stated that he would work hard to correct the unconstitutional flaw in the congressional maps of the great state of Tennessee. Likewise, all of the other political representatives of Tennessee have promised to do so as well. This should give us one extra seat and help save our country from the radical left Democrats and their country-destroying policies of high tax, open borders, transgender mutilization, defunding the police, ICE, and Border Patrol, no voter ID, soft on crime. and so much more. So
winning.
as he says, that was at 12:55. Is Tennessee ready to drop the hammer too?
I think so. Well, I mean, Texas is going crazy here. Greg Abbott just appealed and halted an activist judge's ruling that tried to let the Muslim city develop advance.
Wow.
Have you heard about that?
I knew they were trying to do that. I did not know he halted it. Wow.
Yep. So they're also subject to some other legal action by the state, and there are active investigations by the state agencies and by the federal government. He says this development will never see the light of day.
Oh, hold on.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning, and you'll say, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
And you know what's funny with this is, what is their response? What can you possibly do? The Supreme Court already said, nope, no more racial crap. You can't do it that way. Redraw them. Do what you need to do. They're done. I don't know what they're going to do at this point. Did you notice that the governor of Maine was going to run for some office for senator, and she backed out now? It's all.
And now the crazy guy's coming in. Oh, you do have a perfect response. What's that video you can cue? The one from yesterday in Florida?
Yesterday, I don't know. I didn't keep it.
Do you have that queued up?
No, I deleted it because she was crazy. The one with the megaphone. Yeah, I did.
Yes,
I didn't.
I love the part too. They ding dong.
Well, I'm going to segue. Listen, we've already been going 2 hours because Trump talks so much, but I'm going to segue into something that happened today, so I can move along. As you know, maybe some people don't know that President Trump had put up this. Let me see if I can find it. All right, SV, let me jump. Okay,
got it.
All right, President Trump had put this up, and it said, how much abuse can the Republican Senate take from the radical left lunatics in the form of Democrat senators before they blow up, terminate the filibuster, and approve things at a, quote, record clip, including the Save America Act that would be unthinkable without the filibuster termination. The Dems will do it on the first hour of the first day. Do not be stupid. So he's pushing them, go ahead and break the filibuster. Well, they did something today. It's kind of breaking the filibuster. The House went ahead and funded ICE and DHS, and it's going to be back. Everything is going. Here's Mike Johnson talking about it.
Emily Wilkins. Emily, is there more to the story?
Kelly, now on a totally different topic. As you remember, the Department of Homeland Security is now in day 76 of their shutdown, but the House has just, again, via voice vote with no objections, gone ahead and passed funding to fund the Department of Homeland Security, with the exceptions of ICE as well as Customs and Border Patrol. Those two agencies, of course, being funded in a separate Republican-only bill. But this means that things like TSA, like the Coast Guard, like Secret Service will now be getting funded as soon as Trump signs this bill for the rest of the fiscal year. And of course, we are expecting that additional funding for ICE and CBP to come soon. Kelly?
All right, so a significant move there that is pushing stocks towards session highs.
All right, so they reported a little bit prematurely that there was, the ICE and some other stuff still had to be funded. Well, Mike Johnson took to the podium directly after that.
Afternoon, everybody. Despite unrelenting predictions from many of you today in the press that we would fail this week, we did exactly the opposite. I'm really glad to tell you that House Republicans pulled together and delivered some major pieces of legislation and huge priorities for the country in the last few days. Let me give you a couple of examples. We passed the Farm Bill, as you know, a major achievement, delivering real relief and certainty for our rural America and for all Americans. This is the first time Congress has done that since 2018. Been quite a while, but we got it done. We've also made certain that the House is going to be able to have an up or down vote on a date certain on the E15 issue, which is a big priority for a lot of our members here in the chamber. And most importantly of all the things we got done this week, we got the budget resolution passed. This is very, very important because that will ensure that border security and immigration enforcement will continue today and well into the future. despite Democrat attempts to reopen our borders and protect criminal illegal aliens from removal. The net result of passing our reconciliation bill is that ICE and CBP are funded for 3 years, and Democrats got absolutely nothing for their political charade and shenanigans out of that. We repeatedly offered in good faith, I want to point out, remind everybody, to negotiate on funding these agencies, but ultimately the sad and actually shocking truth is there's not a Democrat in the House or the Senate that believes border security and immigration enforcement should exist at all. By word and deed, Democrats have made clear their desire to defund both of those critical functions of our government. We also passed the FISA reauthorization to ensure that the administration is armed with the best possible intelligence to continue eliminating terrorists and defending our homeland. We pray that the Senate can now pass our FISA bill as quickly as possible, and you know they're deliberating over that right now. Now, I just want to say this. Sometimes the process around here is cumbersome. That's the way this works. But in spite of our razor-thin, historically small majority, House Republicans continue to deliver for the American people. We will continue to do that for the remainder of the year, and that is a large reason why we are going to win the midterms so that the grown-ups can stay in charge here. I'll take a few questions.
Mr. Speaker, isn't this a solution on DHS that could have been passed days or weeks ago? Why did it take this long?
It couldn't, and here's why. You heard me trash the bill when it came over the first time because it literally was drafted in the middle of the night. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning when they came up with the final language, and it was haphazardly drafted. And what it would do is, of course, orphan and leave out immigration enforcement and Border Patrol. If you might remember, in 2024, the number one issue in the election was securing that border. House Republicans did it. The Trump administration, the president did that. And Democrats are upset about it. So they wanted to leave that out. They wanted to orphan these two critical agencies that are under the umbrella of Homeland Security. I remind everybody on the Hill all the time, the Department of Homeland Security is the third largest department of the federal government. It has critical responsibilities, FEMA and the Secret Service and TSA and all these other agencies. But the Democrats said, we'll do some of that, but we're not going to fund border security and we're not going to fund immigration enforcement. That's absurd, and we threw a fit, and we had to. We held the Homeland bill, the underlying funding bill, because we had to ensure that they could not isolate and eliminate those two critical agencies. We are getting those done now. We passed the resolution first. That was critically important for us to do to ensure that we're going to protect the homeland, even though Democrats are unwilling to do it. So now that that box is checked, we are allowed then to proceed and go through with the rest of it. This will relieve pressure from the Department of Homeland Security. Secretary Mullen, who I've spoken to in the last couple of hours, will be greatly relieved. The President will, the administration will. We were not going to have lines at TSA. Everybody will get their paychecks now. We'll get moving forward. And then we will finish the work and finally get, again, for 3 years with no crazy Democrat reforms, we will fund Border Patrol and immigration enforcement as soon as we return for the work session when that bill is finalized.
On FISA, Mr. Speaker, what do you anticipate from the Senate, and are you concerned that whatever the Senate sends over might be a problem over here?
I'm not concerned. I hope that they're going to do the right thing. Look, we sent over a reauthorization that was with minor reforms and with the anti-CBDC measure on it. These are very simple things that the vast majority of Congress agrees with, and they should get it done. They're running out of time. As you know, it will expire tonight, the end of today. And so we're calling on them to do the job, pass the House's bill, and get this done. Check the last box of the week.
They're not going to take the House bill.
Okay, so this was earlier this afternoon. Brett Baer just reported this about 20 minutes ago.
First, breaking tonight, the longest partial government shutdown in U.S. history is over. A few minutes ago, President Trump signed the bill to fund much of the Homeland Security Department, but not its immigration enforcement operations. Earlier in the day, the House passed the measure previously approved by the Senate. Congressional correspondent Bill Malugin has details tonight. Good evening, Bill.
Brett, good evening to you. This DHS shutdown first began back in mid-February, but tonight it is finally ending. And while employees at TSA, FEMA, Coast Guard, and Secret Service can finally exhale a little bit and know they're going to be paid, ICE and CBP are left out in the cold, at least for now.
All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. And the Senate amendment is agreed to.
With that anticlimactic voice vote in the House this afternoon, the 76-day DHS shutdown, the longest in history, is now set to end. After sitting on it for weeks, the House passed the Senate DHS funding bill, which funds all of DHS except for ICE and CBP. Republicans will instead fund those two agencies in a 3-year budget reconciliation bill, which allows them to bypass Democrats.
He should have said that at the beginning. He made it sound like, oh, we're not going to get the funding. The big part that matters is that with President Trump said, break the filibuster, do what you have to do, they are going to fund ICE. They're going to fund ICE through reconciliation, and they don't need any Democrats. They made it sound like, well, you're not going to get ICE. And I just wanted to make sure you understood that they are going to do that without Democrat votes. So they got what they wanted for DHS, and now they're going to get ICE by reconciliation. So let's continue.
President Trump wants that bill on his desk by June 1st.
This will relieve pressure from the Department of Homeland Security. We were not going to have lines at TSA. Everybody will get their paychecks now. We'll get moving forward, and then we will finish the work.
Some House Republican immigration hawks say Democrats have now set a precedent about defunding agendas they don't support.
By the way, two can play at that game. So they're setting a precedent for how this is going to play out from now on.
Democratic Senator John Fetterman says the DHS shutdown was a waste of time, posting that DHS employees went unpaid, over 1,000 TSA agents quit, and the nation was less safe, adding, quote, as the only Democrat who wanted common sense ICE reforms but always refused to shut the agency down, this was unnecessary and a failure of Congress. DHS employees.
All right, so you understand here. The Republicans didn't cave. They're doing a different type of funding through what's called a budget reconciliation. Even John Fetterman just said, you got nothing. The Democrats got nothing out of this. It's going to happen. They can't stop it. In addition, Mark Wayne Mullen posted this. After 76 days, the longest government shutdown in history is now over. DHS is back open. ICE and CBP, this is what's very important. ICE and CBP will be funded through reconciliation with no Democrat votes. So the liberals can't play games with federal law enforcement funding. To be clear, this Democrat shutdown never should have happened. To our great patriotic employees who have continued to protect the homeland every single day without a guaranteed check, thank you. President Trump and I are grateful to be in the fight with you the entire time. So that's what's going on. I wanted to make sure you had the right information.
Like this 27-year veteran of the Coast Guard are just glad it's over.
It's incredibly stressful, just living day to day, not knowing if you're going to get paid for the work.
And Brett, Democrats started this DHS shutdown in the first place because they were demanding about 10 major reforms to ICE and CBP. They now end up getting 0 of those reforms. We'll send it back to you.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
These people really have nothing. 76 days to get your butt spanked, and for for the Republicans to find a way. It didn't have to go to break the filibuster. They're just taking another track, going through budget reconciliation to get it done. It's going to be done, and they got nothing. Nothing. I mean, I don't know what you're going to see out there on X or Facebook or wherever, but they got absolutely nothing.
Well, we're going to see. They don't seem to have another alternative. We'll find out how that works.
Mr. Speaker.
I don't know who you're quoting. Okay, so look, they often analogize legislating to making sausage. You don't want to see it made, and sometimes it's an ugly process. Sometimes it's a long process. I've never broken my word to a single person in this building. Nobody can tell you they can. There was a lot of emotion and frustration yesterday because sometimes when you have a small margin, as we do, we're currently working on a one-vote razor-thin margin because of absences and the rest, and people have, different ideas, different priorities about very contentious pieces of legislation. The equations that we solved on legislation this week were virtually impossible. Many of you said it couldn't be done. But we got it done because ultimately we just use patience and, frankly, prayer. And we get a lot of people together and we listen to their concerns and we try to get the disparate priorities handled. I've never asked a colleague in the Republican Party ever to violate a core principle. But sometimes we have to give up on our preferences because we're in a large body. On some of these bills, some of the ones that I just named for you, they're so complicated and so complex that you literally had irreconcilable demands on either side of the House Republican Conference. And so it takes a long time to work through that and get people to consensus. But we do that patiently, we do as we must, and we ultimately deliver. Don't doubt the House Republican majority. We always deliver for the American people. We did it again in spite of the challenges, and we'll continue to do that. Thank you so much.
He got nothing. The Democrats got nothing. And people will say otherwise, but again, I want you to, as you're looking at things like Mike Johnson right there, look at the facial demeanor. Look who looks calm and steady. Look who looks like everything is right where we want it to be versus completely crazy, screaming. I'm going to close the show with some craziness, but you'll see the difference. You'll see the difference right away where people realize they're absolutely losing and they can't stop the losing. Going to prove it to you. SV, you got anything else right now?
No, that's it. I sent you that link on your X messages in case you want to play it. The screaming harpy down there in the house.
I got a whole like rest of the show. There's no shortage of people going crazy. I can tell you that.
No, there is not.
Oh
I
my
can find
gosh,
even more for you.
Okay, I'll be back at you. Oh
Okay.
man, that's too funny. That's too funny. 'Cause there's a whole bunch of crazy out there right now. You know, I was gonna do like a libtard zone thing today, but I think the libtard zone would have been like 2 hours long because they're just crazy right now. Let me tell you about one of today's sponsors is Chapter. As you know, Medicare can be quite confusing. As someone who recently turned 65 myself, I can confirm this. Keeping track of enrollment periods, understanding all your options, and making sure you're on the right plan takes a lot of time and energy. And between dealing with Medicare scams and corrupt agents and bloated insurance companies, it's easy to make mistakes that can cost you thousands. That's why I'm happy and Robin's happy that we got in touch with Chapter. They wanted to be a sponsor, but I'm like, well, let's talk about this because I might be able to use you. They're actually honest and the only Medicare advisor that looks at every plan nationwide, helping people save an average of $1,100 a year. There's your gas stuff right there. You're covered, if you're saving it on your Medicare, then you're okay for months. Anyway, people are relieved when they talk to Chapter because in one free 20-minute phone call, they can tell you all the different plans that are available to you. These guys won't push you to buy a plan you don't want, and their support is completely free. I know y'all love some free. So if you're turning 65 soon or have questions about your Medicare coverage, call them at 475-328-3545 to get the most out of your Medicare journey. Most people wish they had simply called sooner. And the other thing you can do is go to askchapter.org/Barry if you'd like to read up and stuff before you schedule your appointment. So let's move on. Let's talk about some of the defeat that happened over the last 24 hours. Check these people out.
I said at oral argument that it would be catastrophic for the Supreme Court to in any way narrow, shrink Section 2, and it has done far more than that. It has effectively debilitated us from being able to enforce it in most contexts that we've used it in the past.
That works. As her head's looking around trying to find something to talk about, she's letting you know if she's doing her Ray Charles imitation, it's devastating, debilitating, catastrophic. It's over. They know it's over. You can just tell by her demeanor. Again, contrast. You saw Mike Johnson, you saw President Trump, and this woman's like, I don't know what's going on.
Be some theoretical academic application, but the reality on the ground is that we have lost the most important tool to protect our democracy from.
Catch those words. Listen to the words. We have lost the biggest, greatest tool that we had to do what we needed. Not the people in the hood. I don't give a crap about them. Those people in the hood, hey, do what you got to do. Go, hang out at the barbershop, do it. No, you lost a tool. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that people voting was a tool for the Democrats. They don't even realize what they're saying right now. And if black people in the hood listen to them, they'd realize y'all just widgets. That's all you mean to these people. You're a widget.
Discrimination in voting outside of the 15th Amendment, and that the 15th Amendment, in Chief Justice Roberts' words from the Allen versus Milligan decision, is now a mere parchment promise. It is lost on me how he could square those poetic words with the decision that he joined as part of the 6-3 majority in Louisiana versus Calais. This is a day of infamy for the Supreme Court. It is a day of devastation for our democracy.
I bet you don't feel like that. It's a doomsday effect. It's over, people. It's devastating. It's a calamity. It's a catastrophe. It's an enigma wrapped up in a riddle. We're doomed. We're so screwed. I don't even know what to do. What do we do at this point? Well, if you're like me, you sit back and go, this is some delicious stuff here. I like this. Please tell us more about your doomsday scenario.
And it is also a call to action for every American who hopes to continue to live in a functioning democracy, and one that is multiracial, multi-ethnic, and whose representatives.
What? For every American who desires to live in a multicultural, multi-ethnic DEI, I'm sorry, none of us signed up for that crap. Nope. I don't know. There's probably about 80 million people like, nah, we're doing good. We're liking how things are. Sorry about that, honey. It's catastrophic. I forget. I got to look around like this because hopefully she can't even function. We're doomed. Absolutely doomed.
2026, but a substantial impact on 2028. Specifically, in 2026, there are 7 states in the Southeast who could make some changes. But you've got a board to introduce Louisiana, what it means, and also Alabama. Go ahead and explain your rationale now, Carl.
Well, first of all, in Louisiana, there are 2 black majority districts. One of them is from New Orleans to Baton Rouge, straight up the Mississippi River, and that's historically been a black district. They created, because of the Voting Rights Act, they felt that they had to create a second one, the 6th district. It runs from Shreveport in the northwest corner of the state and runs in a narrow sort of ribbon all the way across the state to New Orleans, close to New Orleans. Mm-hmm. And you look at it and you say, this is odd, and it is drawn for one reason and one reason only, that is to create a majority black district. So, they literally at one point are like almost down to the size of a road connecting parts of this district.
They got away with idiocy. Let's just take a crayon and let's carve out all the black areas that we possibly can. Oh, not that. That's a little bit too Hispanic. Let me erase that. Let me move it over. Yeah, okay, there. So we just want to make sure we're all good in the hood. And let's drive. Oh, we still got a lot more up here, all the way up to Shreveport, 250 miles away. The people in Louisiana, people in America, doesn't this make you sick? Doesn't it make you sick? Because when you think about it, and now the worst part for the Democrats is now all of this is being exposed. You created for decades a carve out just so you could maintain the hood all the way through a state. You purposely made sure, well, let's not go into Hispanic diaspora. Let's not go over here to the Jewish area. Let's not go over here to the Native American. Let's just carve out the hood and we'll just make it just for that. And then we'll put somebody to live on Hood Main Street and we'll get them in and then go to Washington and do what we would never do. Well, what about this whole area? Well, I mean, they doing anything for the people? No, no, we don't care.
Alabama has historically had Alabama 6, which has been dominated by Montgomery. But in order to create a black majority district, this district runs from nearly the western border of Alabama to the eastern border of Alabama, making its way across the state in order to grab black precincts and black counties. They created a new district to meet the voting rights requirement. And again, it runs from the eastern part of the western part of the state up from Tuscaloosa and the so-called Black Belt to Birmingham. And if you look at it, it's like a giant finger poking north in order to grab enough black voters in Birmingham.
See, I didn't even know this. But as you're hearing it, I don't really care too much for Karl Rove, but as he's explaining it, you're thinking to yourself, you did all of this basically to trap black people on the plantation. Think about that. We're going to carve out certain areas where the blackies live, and we're going to make sure we put somebody in there, Jasmine Crockett or somebody, who's solely going to be a puppet for what we need them to do. But what about the people in the district? Screw them. I don't care what they do. Just give them their welfare checks and SNAP benefits and shut up. But then you get to go to Washington and vote for the stuff we want you to vote for. But you don't care about the people. You want to look at something racist. This is beyond racist, and it stymies me how so many black politicians are like, oh yeah, this is perfect. This is good. We'll just keep these people poor. And I'm thinking to myself, when I drive around Martin Luther King Boulevard this weekend, I got to stop and look at who are the different politicians along the way, because I want to expose them. I want to take a picture of this burned out, broken windowed building and say, this is in Joe's district. Joe, what are you doing about this? That's what some of the stuff you guys can do, is find out where the hoods are. You may already know, and say, whose district is this? Whose district is it with the hookers and the drug dealers and the shooting? Who's doing nothing for these people? Expose them. See, they've hidden for so long. I would have never known that Louisiana had a 250-mile long black district specifically drawn to keep the black people there.
Create a majority district. So these are drawn for one purpose and one purpose only, which is let's create a district with a majority of black voters in it. And we can't, under the Voting Rights Act, then have what's called retrogression. We can't reduce the number of black voters. So each census we're required to do even more extraordinary things in order to keep the number of black voters in the majority. Think what we would be saying if we said, all right, you have to draw white majority districts or Latino majority districts.
That's what I was saying. How did everybody else get effed over here? Like, wait a minute, where's the white district? Where's the Hispanic? Where's the Native American? Where's the Korean? The Chinese American? Everybody else, they don't care about. They don't even care about the people that they stuck in their little boxes. But then they ignored everybody else. And now you're sitting back and realize, is that how these people got elected? This should be like light bulbs going off. Go, wait a second. You're telling me that all these people in Congress are sitting up there because they put these people on plantations, just kept them there. And I don't care what state you're in. I don't care what city you're in. I guarantee you right now, yep, I know where it is. I know the hood is right over there. Well, now you know who's responsible for it. See, most of us go and we vote because we live here. Hey, Robin, where are we supposed to go? We got to go to the library. Okay, we just go there. I don't even go voting in the hood because it's not where I live. Now I'm learning, like you're learning, This was a scam for decades. It was a perfect scam. See, that's the part everybody now has to realize. They did this for 60 years, and they were able to perfect it. And it was so perfect is because none of us knew about it. I never cared who was a representative in the hood. Now I know why the hood looks the way it looks. It was on purpose. It was intentional. Keep these people in the dark like mushrooms and just let them keep voting for you.
Or Asian American majority districts, and engaged in that kind of, race groupings in order to create districts dominated by one race or ethnic
background. That logic would be unacceptable to the Supreme Court.
Unacceptable.
As well. Yes.
Right.
Carl, so for people that are heading into cocktail hour tonight and through the weekend, if they hear someone say, this is a disaster, this means that blacks are completely now unrepresented, the ones that have gone completely to the sky is falling because of this ruling.
Maybe you should have had, I don't know, some black people on while you're saying this, because right now they're going to call you, you're racist. What, three white people can't talk about the voting in a certain area without it being racist? Not as far as they're concerned. Oh no, you guys don't have the right. You don't have the right to talk about us. Why? Why can't white people say, hey, what are y'all doing in the hood? Now we know.
What would you say are their best arguments against the sky is not falling?
Well, first of all, most states have already set the elections. They've had their primaries. They've set the filing deadlines. Alabama has already said, look, we recognize that we've got to redo this, but we cannot do it this year. We're going to do it in the future. We're going to do it before the next election. Louisiana is thinking about trying to do this. We'll see if they're able to pull it off.
Yep, as SV told you, Louisiana said, nope, we're going to go ahead. We're going to suspend the election until we get this fixed.
Second thing I'd say is that it increases the influence of black voters, because no longer are they grouped together under the notion of the only way that you can elect somebody who can represent blacks is to have a majority of blacks in that district. Now you're going to have blacks that are in a district that has a community of interest and is more compact, and which both parties are going to say we need to get inroads in that community or dominate that community in order to elect one of our own to the U.S. Congress. So
that's where we come in. Now, people who want to represent these areas are going to have to do some work. See, we could never win in these markets because it was drawn where you could never, make inroads. Now you can go and say, hey, you guys like living like this? That thing had a long tail on it. Is this how you guys like to live? I'm just saying, you don't have to live this way. What the hell do you have to lose? Ashley and I went to go look. I told you when she was down here, I took her to an area and we looked at a house in the hood. And I'm like, just understand when you walk in here, it ain't like where we are. And it's going to stink. And there might be some creepy crawly things. And there might even be some needles. And there might even be a dead body. So just understand, let me go in first and make sure it's clear. And we walked in and I was like, ugh, this house stinks. Look at this neighborhood. And that's what they've kept these people in. So at this point, if a conservative, I don't care if they're black or white, if a conservative wants to go into these neighborhoods, you got a message now. The easy message. You don't have to live like this.
I see it just the opposite. Black voters are no longer being sort of segregated and put into a black district. They're now going to be part of a larger community of interest. This is, southwestern Alabama. This is northwestern Louisiana. And as a result, the smart political candidates and the smart political parties are going to be going after their votes.
Carl, great to have you on. Thank you so much. Yeah, instant analysis. We'll talk about it for.
You see, that's the play now. The play now is as we're heading to 2026, certain areas might be too late. 2028, the play is get into these neighborhoods and then show the contrast. Hey, listen, you don't have to live like this. Here's my idea. Here's what we'll do. In fact, maybe now I may go buy that house in the hood and I can get someone who wants to be politically, connected. And I'm like, you show people, you can come out and do the song and dance and say, hey, listen, I'm going to help Barry buy these houses and we're going to clean them up so you guys have places to live and they're not slums and ghettos. It's really simple. Just show them the alternative. You don't have to live this way.
We had a civil war in this country, and in the aftermath of that, we had a brief period of black representation of all throughout the South when there were fair elections, equal voting power. The first black senators and congresspeople came, and then within a decade, all of that black representation was eviscerated because those southern states moved to suppress blacks' voting rights and redraw maps so that it was impossible for a black person to again be elected, even though.
What? Why? What do you mean? Are you saying that you suck so bad you couldn't get white people to vote for you? You suck so bad you couldn't get Asian Americans to vote for you? You suck so bad that you couldn't get Native Americans to vote for you? Italian Americans? You could only get the black vote, people who look like me. That's what you're saying? Well, then how did the white people who get black people to vote for them, how'd they do it? Well, probably because we didn't sell the skin. If I want to vote for a candidate and I go to one of his town hall meetings or I go to one of his, rallies, he's not saying, vote for me, I'm for the blackies. No, there is no such predicate. There is no such statement. I'm here. You got to vote for me because I look like you. No, what are you going to do? Oh, I'm black. That's not enough. And that's what he just said they leaned on. They leaned on that we needed black representation. Well, obviously, you're from like Jersey, Newark or something. You've seen some of the stuff in Newark. You don't need green, yellow, black, red. You need someone who can get the job done. I don't care what color you are. I don't care if you don't really look like me anyway. And you definitely don't play on the same team, if you know what I mean. So
some of those states had upwards of 40+% African Americans. And then a movement began. And over the next century, African Americans returned to Congress. In fact, the first one from North Carolina came in the 90s. The black senators started returning. I'm the fourth black elected in the United States history after Barack Obama, number 3. And we started to finally, since the battles and fights, blacks and whites joining together in a rainbow coalition to establish what we have today, the Voting Rights Act. And what the Supreme Court has now done is eviscerate that act. And what you see southern states openly talking about doing now is eliminating black representation.
No, they're not. There is no such thing. No, nobody has said in any decree, any statement, any judgment that black people can't run for office. You are free to represent anybody you want. You can just run, and run. There is no preclusion. Now, here's what the problem is. Now that there's going to be increased competition, not only is there going to be increased competition for votes, there's going to be increased competition for money. You see, these guys and these people who have run in these black communities and let them run down, when they would get their donors, is because there's no other bus. Hey, I'm the guy here. And I'm the guy here. You need to donate to me. See, that's what they're not telling you. It's the money behind this. Because with competition, you got to spend money. They didn't have to spend any money in the hood. They had the votes in their hands. And now what happens? Now they got to actually work, and now they've got to convince donors, hey, why should I give to you instead of Fred? Well, I'm black. That ain't going to be enough anymore. Now I gotta pick which one of you I'm gonna get behind, and I hope his answer isn't I'm black. I hope his answer is I want to win and I want to show these people how to have a better life. See, for the last 40 years, you just had to say we're black. We look like them.
disenfranchising African American voters by drawing creative districts that completely take away any kind of representation. And so when you ask about the history, we all stand. I am here as a United States Senator because of Americans of all backgrounds who joined together in a movement to end this kind of discrimination. And the Supreme Court, with the aiding and abetting of Donald Trump, are now eviscerating.
Does Donald Trump sit on the Supreme Court? Hold on, let me check. No, he doesn't. How does Donald Trump have anything to do other than the fact, I guess what you're saying is he nominated, 3 of the judges that are there. So it's Trump's fault. It's Trump's fault that I'm going to have to earn a living.
Those rights, and we're going to see, I think, us plunging back into a world where African Americans from many states again disappear from Congress.
All right.
What? Did you hear what his concern was, just like the other lady? What we're going to see now is Black Americans disappearing from Congress. So you mean the people might vote for somebody else, right? Because we're not saying that you can't have a congressman or you can't have a senator from the hood, but they might not be Black. And that's a problem. Why? See, that's it. It's money, it's power, it's owning these districts. And now the problem with them is I might not be here next time. Who gives a crap about you? It's supposed to be about them. They can't even help it. They're vomiting and they're telling people all the stuff that they're freaked out about.
Rev, this ruling, many commentators have noted, will likely create new GOP districts across the South.
First of all, lose the glasses. Second of all, how does it create GOP districts? The hood's still the hood. What are you going to do about these people? And of course, the head grifter, he's done nothing for any of these neighborhoods.
The New York Times mapped this out, what this region might look like. Here's what the map currently looks like, with Democrats holding around 24 seats. And here is the plausible redistricting scenario without.
You're screwed. How about that? How about that? How are they going to win? I don't care which polls you watch. You tell me, as this stuff, you can't win. You can't sit around on election night and go, hold on, we haven't got the hood vote yet.
The input of Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. It shows Republicans gaining 12 more seats. Can we expect other states to begin pushing to take advantage of this ruling ahead of the midterms? Florida has already passed a law through its legislature to redistrict their seats going forward. They've already.
I think you absolutely can look for other states to try to take advantage of it. I think that this is something that was projected when many of us were saying that don't ignore Project 2025. They're doing exactly what they said they were going to do. And those of us in the civil rights community that was warning of this, we were alarmists. Well, we're here now.
Yeah.
And we're now going to have to deal with the fact. And let's remember that blacks and whites went to the South and fought to get the Voting Rights Act. Goodman, Cheney, and Swerve, the 2 Jews and a black, were killed for fighting for the Voting Rights Act. So was Viola Luisa. So this was not just blacks saying this. These were blacks and whites saying, let's uphold democracy. And here we are getting ready to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the country. And going in, we're reminding blacks, oh, you can't bring up race. You're not equal. In fact, you weren't even independent in 7.
Is there any wonder why some of these people in these areas are so confused? This guy's been doing this same grift. He's been doing the same hustle all the way back to Morton Downey Jr. And, how long ago was it? Tawana Brown. He's been doing the same song and dance, the same jive and shuck for decades. Can you blame the people who live there, who have been brainwashed into thinking, oh, it's the white man, man. The white people are doing all this stuff to you. The same white guys who are paying me money so I don't come, and picket in front of their businesses, but I haven't done anything for you. You know, I don't know how these people go on TV and have people look at their smug faces. Is the first question I would say, tell me what neighborhoods you have fixed up. Tell me what kind of training you have given black people in the communities. Don't tell me how much you spent on schools, because we know that ain't working. We'd like to know what you've done to help these people that you call unfortunate. Nope, no answer.
76.
All right. There's so much more to say. In fact, I'm going to make you all stick around. Leah and the Rev are going to be with us for another block. We have so much more to discuss after this.
Because they are doing everything they can, it appears, to artificially give Donald Trump a Republican majority.
See? There, I cut these pieces. I only have a couple more. I cut these pieces so you can see definitively, one, their faces. They're freaking out. Number two, let me know when they talk about the voters. Let me know when they talk about the people in the district. And if you happen to be watching and you wanted to troll and you live in one of those areas, understand these people don't care about you. You mean nothing. Less than nothing.
In the Congress and in the Senate, which of course he's at risk of losing because his presidency has been a disaster and the Republicans have been nothing but sycophants and rubber stamps for Donald Trump's extreme agenda. We're going to make sure that there's a free and fair election in November. And this voting rights decision by the Supreme Court has come late enough in the process that I agree entirely with Mark Elias that at the end of the day, at best, it may give the Republicans an additional seat or two in advance of November of 2026. And then we got to battle it out in connection with 2028.
How are you going to battle it out? You actually got to fight in the streets? The Supreme Court has ruled. What battle do you want to battle out? Because that's the new refrain. We're going to fight. We're going to keep fighting. We're going to keep fighting for all. Who are you fighting? You're going to use the media to try and get the media to fight your battles for you and tell you how bad it is. The white people and the Uncle Toms are all against you.
You know, this decision, we knew this was coming because they've been chipping away at this for a long time. The court said, you know, there's no problem with race anymore, and yet we're fighting every day talking about Project 2025.
All right, so now you've heard that twice in two different shows. Now they're going to revamp that, Project 2025, albeit we are in 2026. So if we're in 2026, now they're going to have to pull out, Epstein, Project 2025. But the problem is, what you're seeing is people with no answers. When you're talking about Project 2025, when you're talking about fight, what they're actually saying is we need y'all to riot. They can't do anything. It's done. It's over. What are you going to sue? It already went to the Supreme Court. There's nothing you can do. Nothing. So you're going to gin people up and talk about Project 2025. So it doesn't help you other than getting people pissed off.
We know what's happening, and it's going to start happening to women as well. Because all these changes in voting where they're saying you can't use your married name, you got to go get your birth certificate, so this is going to affect a lot of people. Right now, it sounds like it's just affecting people of color. We know better. We knew this was coming. So this is meant to discourage you from voting.
It's a shame that these people do this on television. I read the decision. I saw what the law is. There's not a single character, not a sentence that says, hey, you in the hood, you can't vote. There's no reason to be discouraged. You have absolutely, in fact, if you are in the hood watching this, you should feel encouraged. You now will have an option. People are going to have to stump and tell you, what are you going to do for us? How are you going to fix this? Our roads suck. We got rats all over here, and we keep hearing the same song and dance. Now I got options. Oh, that's what they're afraid of.
This is meant to make you feel like you don't have a voice. You do have a voice.
Who said you didn't have a voice? Nobody. And so now what you're going to hear is the fight that they're talking about. This is going to be a campaign statement that the Democrats will make. And the fact that they're making this campaign statement, I think, is going to seal their doom.
New Congress, we're going to have to do something about this Supreme Court. And let me be very clear. Everything is on the table. Everything to deal with this corrupt MAGA majority that is issuing political opinions that are designed to bolster the prospects of the Republican Party, and we will not allow them to succeed.
How you going to do that, bro? And by the way, understand, fix the focus on your camera. You don't want to be up here looking at your nostril hair, just to let you know. But they plan on packing the court. We got to fix this. How you fix it? We need, whatever we need to do. If we need to pack the court when we get in, that's what we're going to do. So that's going to be their message. We're going to fight Donald Trump. We're going to fight MAGA. We're going to fight GOP. How are you going to do it? You got to elect us so we can pack the court, use our filibuster, and screw these people to the wall. That's all they got.
Our message to Florida Republicans is F around and find out. If they go down the road of a DeSantis dummy-mander, the Florida Republicans are going to find themselves in the same situation as Texas Republicans, who are on the run right now. And under no circumstances are Texas Republicans picking up 5 seats. They'll be fortunate if they get 2 or 3. While in California, we are going to get all 5. The Republicans are dummy-mandering their way into the minority before a single vote is cast, because they started this war, and we're going to finish it.
We're going to do maximum warfare against Republicans. Florida Republicans, you F around, you're going to find out all this stuff.
Rod. Love what you're doing down here, but don't do black voice, bro. You ain't got no hood accent whatsoever. And I understand you were laughing at Hakeem Jeffries, but you could have just said what he said. And anyway, he did what he said he's going to do. Ron DeSantis made it happen.
And you know what I said was, listen. And he's like, oh, if you do the redistricting, we're going to take out all your members. We're going to do all this stuff. And what I said was, go ahead, make my day. You don't think we're going to... You want to come down here and spend money in Florida? Roll the dice and take your chances. But don't think that you can come down here, issue threats to us, and somehow you're going to make us flinch. That is not happening. And in fact, it did not happen, because as soon as he came out and started doing that last week, Florida legislature turned around and they passed a new map. This guy Jeffries popping off in Washington about Florida. He wants to be Speaker of the House. And he's kind of like, more liberal than Pelosi and all this other stuff from New York City. I just want to know, I just say, oh, Florida can't do, we're going to go after Florida. Please be my guest. I will pay for you to come down to Florida and campaign. I'll put you up in the Florida governor's mansion. We'll take you fishing. We'll do all this stuff. There's nothing that could be better for Republicans in Florida than to see Hakeem Jeffries, everywhere around this state. Voters will not like what they see. They will not want that type of ideology. And so the door is open. The invitation's out there. I don't think there'd be anything better for the Republican Party of Florida but to have Jeffries there. Now, I kind of feel bad for the guy because he's as left as they come. He's always going left. And yet the far left hates him. They call him a dollar store Obama. They call him AIPAC Shakur, all these different derogatory names that they do. And so he's tried to ingratiate himself with but they're just not drinking the Kool-Aid, and so they give him a hard time. So I kind of feel bad for that. But please be my guest to come down in Florida.
Senator Persons Mullica has waived closed. The question now recurs on final passage of HB 1D. The clerk will unlock the machine and the members will proceed to vote. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? The clerk will lock the machine and announce the vote.
83 yeas, 28 nays, Mr. Speaker.
Show the bill passes. Read the next bill.
None of
Ron DeSantis just went, hey, have some of this. Okay, have some of this. You're going to come down here. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to rub your face in it. And so this woman out here with a megaphone complaining in the House of Congress or of Florida Congress while they just pass it right in her face. Hakeem, you talked a big game and you got called out. You got called out to your face. It's already done. Especially now after the Supreme Court voted. You're toast, bro.
There's been a lot of talk how there won't be any black Republican members in the new term. Yeah. What do you make of that?
Nothing.
Okay, in case you don't know, this is Wesley Hunt. And if you also didn't know, he's black. And so this guy asking him questions like, hey, man, what are you going to do? How are you going to do this? You know, there might be not enough black, senators and Congress people.
I don't understand how that's relevant.
But is it a problem like recruitment? Or
I don't think it's a problem with anything. I'm not here because I'm black. I am here because I'm qualified representative for Congressional District 38, and the American people choose who they want to choose. Yeah. And the one thing I don't want to get into is this game of race bait all day, every day. If there's 4, if there's 10, if there's none, what we are talking about is who is the best person that is best qualified to fill a seat regardless of the way that they look. And I tell people this all the time till I'm blue in the face. I represent a white majority district that President Trump would have won by over 20 points, and I won by 25 points the last time I ran. I'm being judged not by the color of my skin, but by the content of my character. I don't care how many black people are here. I want the most qualified people that are here.
And
thank you.
Oh, got it. Thank you, Harrison.
They can't stand that. White people voted for me. Oh my God. You don't look like them. So a black man was voted in by a predominantly white neighborhood. So I guess this whole color thing doesn't really matter. Oh, he's a coon. Oh, he's an Uncle Tom. He's still black. And he's like 18 shades darker than me. So the people in the hood, you didn't vote for the guy who could do the job. You voted because they told you to, because they penciled out some hood rat district. But see, the problem is the Democrats are facing something that I've been telling you guys probably for 2 years, for at least 2 years, is the problem is if you go back and look at past elections and you see what the voting is, and this is why I was so confident, and many of you who watch me know I said it's over. Trump's going to win. It's of no consequence. I knew going in. People said, Barry, how can you be so sure? Because Hillary and Biden, all these different people, they won because they were getting 92 to 94% of the black vote. And even with 92 to 94%, even with the cheating, they were only able to win with, 4%, 5% of a margin. Remember, Hillary got beat back then, and she still got, 90% of the black vote. So what happens if you don't get 90, 93, 94% of the black vote? Then you can't keep the distance, which is why they had to cheat. You get in the neighborhood of 89, game over. You get 83, 84, game really over. Now, I don't put too much credence in polls. I use them more for entertainment, but I want you to see what CNN just put up. I think they put this up not because they wanted to show the numbers. They needed to send a warning to the Democrats. A big warning. Nobody's going to talk about it. You have to go back and look at Gallup polling. You have to look at Rasmussen if you want. You're going to see every single Democrat candidate, except Trump, against Trump, they were getting 90s and only winning or contending by this much. So what happens if they don't get 90 plus? They lose. You can't make up the balance. So now with Trump, if he's already polling well with black people before this, and now you get some people to go run in the hood, you don't have to win a whole lot. You just have to show up. Look at these numbers.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing right now in the numbers is President Trump and the Republican Party are chipping away at the long-term advantage that Democrats have had with black voters, with African Americans. You can see it right here. Look, Trump's approval among African Americans at this point in term one, he was at 12%. You know, he's been losing ground with a lot of groups. He's gaining ground with African Americans. He's up to 16% at this point. And you say, this isn't that big of a shift. But I will tell you, Republicans absolutely love this shift that's going on because Democrats have had such a long-term advantage. The fact that he's actually gaining ground versus where he was in term number one, this has major implications.
I gotta get some more cigars. I don't smoke them, but I like to put them in there for celebrating purposes. Do the math. If this thing is even close to being right. Like I said, I don't put credence in polls. I just look at this from an entertainment value and go, huh? What? So the Democrats in April, according to CNN, the Democrats in April of 2026, way, 7 months away, are already down to 84% of black vote. That lady gonna sing. And now the Supreme Court says you can't have these districts. That's why you're seeing the faces like, this is devastating. This is catastrophic. Oh, it's really catastrophic. It's more catastrophic than they even want to let on. They know the numbers, whatever the real numbers are. They know them. They know mathematically, without the illegals and losing just a bit of the black vote, they're completely screwed.
For elections down the line, because Democrats, especially in a lot of these tight races, you talk about places like Georgia, right down in the South, you see this type of movement for Trump actually gaining ground. This could have major ramifications and help put Republicans over the top in a number of southern places in the midterm elections.
But do you see this as part of a bigger trend?
I see this as absolutely part of a bigger trend. Donald Trump's Republican Party is absolutely gaining ground, not just him gaining in terms of his approval rating, but look at the party ID margin, Kate, because this to me was absolutely stunning. Look at this party ID margin among African Americans. At this point in Trump term number one, Democrats had a 63-point advantage. That is absolutely fallen. Look at where it is now. A double-digit shift away. Democrats, of course, still have the advantage, but it's a 12-point shift to the Republican Party.
There's no getting around these numbers, even if he's off. Barry, his numbers aren't accurate. Okay, how much are they off? And if you look at that and go, they're even half off. Let's say it's not 63 to 51. Let's say it's, 72 to 43. They still can't win. How about it's way off? Hey, Barry, he's off by 20 points. Okay, so the Democrats are still only at 83. How bad do his numbers have to be for you to realize in mathematical terms, oh, they got problems? So even if you say to yourself, Barry, I don't trust their numbers, they're inaccurate, how far are they inaccurate? Look at these numbers yourself and go, oh, he's way off. How far? 8, 10, 12, 20% wrong? Even if he's 20% off, they can't make this up, especially not with what just happened in the Supreme Court. So please, as I've been saying for quite some time, show me how we're losing. I'm not going to take this as gospel. But I am looking at it going, if they were 30% off, they'd be at where they need to be. This would have to be a 30% failure for them to be where they even need to get close to winning. 30.
And I look back through Gallup's records. They sent me their records. And this, in fact, lead that Democrats have is actually smaller than any lead from 2006 to 2021. So Democrats are leading. But again, we're talking about chipping away. Republicans are chipping away at this long-term advantage that Democrats have had among African Americans. We see it in terms of Trump's approval rating, and we even see it to a wider degree among the party ID margin, where all of a sudden there are a number of African Americans who are walking away from the Democratic Party, and a number of them who are walking into the Republican tent.
It's what I said to you leading up to the campaign when President Trump was running. We're never, and I do mean probably never, going to win the black vote. You don't have to. Chip, 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 chip. And then, now, with everything that happened with the Supreme Court, being able to walk into some of these helpless communities and go, you want a job? You want to learn how to work? You want to learn how to be a productive member of society? Want to work at a data center? Tell me. I'll look in the chat. Tell me how we lose. I keep asking people, show me. Don't be mad at me. Show me. And the more stuff I see, because I garner all this information, and I'm like, I don't see it. I don't care if Tucker Carlson and Marjorie Taylor Greene or Candace Owens, I don't care who says what. You know why? They're not talking to these people. See, that's the other part of it. When you see all the panicans that are out there and they're doing all this, they're not talking to these people. Miss me. They're not watching Tucker. They're not watching Candace Owens. They're not even watching me. And so when you see the negativity, number one, it's on X, which isn't real life. And number two, that demographic ain't following those people.
Interesting, looking at that past Gallup information.
Yeah.
What does this mean for the race for control in Congress?
Okay, so you see this right here. You see this 51-point advantage that Democrats have, significantly less than you see that 63-point advantage. And what we will note was back in 2024, right, Donald Trump put in a historically strong performance among African Americans. Democrats performed the worst in a generation. Have they gained any of that coalition back from where they fell down to in 2024? But take a look here. Okay. Choice for election among African Americans. Kamala Harris was leading amongst that group in the pre-election polling by 63 points. Are Democrats gaining back any of that ground? It's a 62-point advantage now. Republicans are holding on to the gains that they made among African Americans in 2024.
Like I said, even if he's off a lot, they're screwed. And it's now you know, like Trump's in there smiling in the Oval Office. Yeah, I'm going to put some granite out there. And they're like, oh my God, it's catastrophic. I've said for quite some time, just look at people's faces and demeanors. Who looks like they're comfortable and who looks like the sky's falling in? Because you can't fake panic. If you get panicked, it's going to show. It's going to come out. And like I said, I'm not taking what he's saying I'm taking with a grain of salt, but I'm using interpolation and going, even if he's way off. Remember, when he shows you this, that Kamala Harris had a 63-point advantage, and she still got blown out. It wasn't close. She had a 63% comfort level with the black people, and she still got blown out. So if it's the same now, literally 2 years later, you tell me.
Republicans are gaining among African Americans. They are chipping away at that long-term advantage. The Donald Trump-led Republican Party is making gains among African Americans that we simply put have not seen the Republican Party make in a generation.
Fascinating. Good to see you here. Thanks so much for putting it together.
The white men don't have to do anything to suppress black people, sweetheart. Black people are doing it all by themselves. Y'all love to try to blame the white man for everything. Let me just tell you, the white man ain't forcing you to go to the liquor store every weekend. The white man not forcing you to go to the club every weekend. The white man not forcing you to drink lean. He not forcing you to pop Percocets. He's not forcing you to have all these illegitimate bastard-ass kids. The white man is not forcing you to do none of it. You are willingly participating in this mess of a life. So don't sit in my face and try to tell me what the white man is doing to you. They did it to them. We the product of what they did to them. Now it's up to us to change the way we think, change the way that we eat, change the way that we do things, change the places that we go to, change the people that we're procreating with. Change. But no, y'all don't want to hear that. Y'all don't want to hear that. Y'all want to hear some shit that's toxic. That's what y'all want to hear. Man.
Man. That's my presentation for today. You guys can agree or disagree, but this is where we are one day after the Supreme Court. And everything I see with the Democrats is complete hair on fire. Sky is falling. And they're losing touch because they know that is what they needed to even be competitive. Never mind win, they needed to have the black community like this just to be competitive. Now, what are they going to do? Well, I bet you'll start seeing Obama and Michelle Obama start coming back out, trying to drum things up. Michelle Obama may even run for president. They got to find a way at this point. Obviously, Hakeem Jeffries can't do it. None of these people can do it. They're not motivating black people whatsoever. I'm sick and tired of us focusing on black people. But that's where this is going to go because they can't win any other way. I'm not making this a focus on black people. They are. And the reason they're making a focus is because, oh my gosh, they are completely toast. Toast. Brother, what you got?
Man, don't they ever Lear?
Oh my God.
Oh man, it's been a fun couple of days. I love all this. It's like I keep hearing winning. I keep seeing the video where they're playing the one up in Boston.
Yeah,
my favorite, the mariachi singers. I love that one too. That's one of my favorites.
I mean, it's bad, and I'm not trying to be overly hyperbolic. I'm showing you these people have created a system that they have banked on. They banked on it for decades, and now it's falling apart. And I don't see how they rebuild it. I mean,
that bank is out of business. Yeah, for sure.
Big
hey,
trouble.
Just to let you know real quick. So you were right. Saw a tweet here. Alabama now goes on the offense. They demand new congressional maps from SCOTUS. So one by one, it's like, all those southern states are going to do the right thing.
They're done.
No more of this racial pandering crap. We all bleed red.
And so now what the next step is. All they have is violence. They're gonna.
That's unfortunate. Yeah,
that's where they're gonna
hopefully
go.
Not, but hopefully not.
Well, think about it. Desperation only leads you to one thing, and if they don't have the people from other countries who aren't here, the socialism stuff is falling apart in New York City. They got nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing. So
yeah.
Let me do.
Well, listen, you're over 3 hours. You're over 3 hours now. Another short show. I always like these short shows, Barry. Thank you very much.
And my voice feels it. I mean, I'm starting to tap out. I'm gonna SV finish it out. I can't do it.
All right, Barry. I'm gonna go. Have a good night, sir.
Yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Well, see you tomorrow. I'm gonna finish off here. Thank you very much.
All right,
everybody. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me do super chats and then we can break for the evening. Let me move this over so you can see it. All right, Barry, the bill was talking about last night is AB 2624. I don't want this spreading to other states because it attacks free speech and what you do. Yep, familiar with it. Definitely familiar with it. But I can tell you, I don't see it working, especially not down here in Florida. Cutting Edge, the pipeline of Alberta, Canada. Yeah, that's what I think that was. Nicholas, Barry is a retired Fed worker in Baltimore. I have a thrift savings account, which I had to borrow from to pay med expenses. Can I open a Trump IRA at 69 to supplement my Social Security and existing thrift savings? I am going to have to look that up for you. I don't know. They just dropped it today, but I'm sure there'll be a lot. Wait till the website gets up, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of information on there. G. Fisher, Glenn Beck said fourth leading cause of death in Canada is government-assisted suicide. Wow. Wow. Lele, thanks for all you do. Things are coming together for all of us. Indeed, thanks to our president. I agree. Make it Blankenship. Everyone in my family will be voting Julia Letlau. We can't stand Bill Cassidy. Yeah, he sealed his doom by going up against Trump. Jeremiah, okay, what happens tomorrow when the War Powers resolution runs out? What do you mean runs out? It didn't run out. It hadn't started. Understand that he doesn't need that. And because they've been on break, there's no military actions really taking place right now other than the blockade. So he's got another period before, everything happens. But he's not stopping. Chief Fisher, short-time gas price spike or nuclear survival kit, take your pick. Agreed. Hey, Chiosop, we added about $100 a day to our fuel bill, but business is up enough where we did have to raise prices on our customers. I raised them during Biden. You have to let me know what you guys do. Are you obviously you drive a lot. Chiosop, somewhere in Iran, 8 women and their families are highly grateful to President Trump for saving their lives. The Pope and Code Pink are criticizing. Of course he is. Barry Canova. Barry, you and SV are bringing back Living Together in Harmony. Name that tune. Oh, gosh. Jeremiah, decimated is the wrong way to describe our destruction regarding Iran. Decimated is reducing by 1/10. We've done far better than that. Agreed. Mariah, with all the opposition and nonsense we get from the other side, we will definitely need the next 50 years to save America. Yep. Maybe not. Maybe not. Brian, I want a discombobulator. Yeah, I want one too. Even a little one. Can we have like a perimeter discombobulator so we can just blow stuff up in our neighborhoods? Chiosop, Biden used to talk about she was trying to hold her head from spitting. Oh my goodness. When they say our democracy, they mean their grip. That's exactly what they mean. And they sent their people to ballot harvest those areas. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. They went into those hoods to go ahead and ballot harvest. Scumbags. James Hammond, will the northern blue states redraw their district? West Virginia is waiting for other southern states to redraw. We are all red. I think you're going to find as you start digging in that a lot of the northern Democrat states already did it. And so at this point, it's going to be very hard for them to even stop what's coming. Once again, the Republicans tried to be Mr. Nice Guy, and they didn't do it, even though they were getting screwed by the Democrats. Mary, I'm excited now they can get rid of Al Sharpton, Abby Phillips, Van Jones, Timu Obama. Laugh, what's happening is so good. I agree. Fume Drummer, in New York, the GOP doesn't even run candidates in many elections. They're useless. Where's it? I agree. I mean, that's how Mondami won. Going to be interesting to see what happens in California. Chiosop, all this means nothing if we don't get out and vote. Absolutely. And Ronaldo, Barry, have you read The Paradigm by Jonathan Cahn, a Christian rabbi writing about God's purpose for Trump? Great read or audio book. I have not, but I shall look it up and see if I can download it. So anyways, it's Thursday, heading to the weekend. I hope you guys have a great Thursday evening. I will see you sometime tomorrow. And boom.
you.